cancel culture is about canceling it.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
Systematic bullying that's happening.
And they believe that
Woke
Cocaína.
But it's the wax that the Terminator X spun. Now they got me in a cell cause my records ain't sell. Cause a brother like me said, well,
it's born like this, immaculate conception. Not transform like this, perform like this, which yells you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that puts against the bed. This that I got realness, I just push, cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got junk, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
the woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stopped Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stopped Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
We'll see who cancels who.
They want you to comply.
Hello,
Friends.
howdy. We making it through the week, okay,
Did you guys
everybody?
see the big news today? All the names have finally been uncovered with the Epstein files. We finally know.
I saw them.
All of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. I can't believe it. Wasn't expecting to see the three of us on there. No, I'm
I actually have the list of names right here, already pulled up for you all.
I mean,
here it
honestly,
is.
there
Yep.
you go. Right, with how this was done, I wouldn't be surprised if our three names you saw like written in like Mike Cernovich or the Libs of TikTok's handwriting, just like Matt Binder.
Did you see the first page? It's just like the Twin Towers. It's just like two giant squares, and that's it.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, this whole thing is a big joke. And I'm mocking the right's basically turning this into a circus. Because this is a serious thing. Like, there were hundreds of victims.
Even the right is mocking the right here. The Babylon Bee is memeing about this. If they're memeing about this, you know that it's a shit show.
But it's not even that. Listen, like, there were blacked out names and stuff, fine. But it's all documents that we've seen before. Like, there's nothing new here. This has all been public for years.
Are you telling me that Jeffrey Epstein's best friend wasn't willing to release the Epstein files in their totality? That seems weird.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's odd.
The whole thing.
It almost seems like there's a sort of a cover-up effort from Donald Trump. I mean, he wouldn't have anything to hide, right? You don't think?
No. It wouldn't make any sense.
Like,
that's what I thought.
The whole thing, though, with Pam Bondi, the AG, coming out and saying she was going to release these documents today, and I think people assumed, I assumed that it was going to be bullshit documents in terms of what we're seeing. Stuff we've already seen in a ton of blurred out, blacked out stuff that gives us no new information whatsoever. Because honestly, my feelings is that other than like stuff that we shouldn't see, like explicit content,
victims' names and stuff like that.
Honestly, there's probably not much that we don't know about. Like, we know about the names. We know who's in that little black book of Epstein. We don't need the client list, if there even is a client list. This whole idea of a client list, I don't even know where it came from. Like, there's not, he had a list of clients. We have his black book and his flight logs.
It's pretty
You need an
comprehensive
actual
already.
list.
Yep.
You basically have a list of him saying numbers of people who are very near and dear to me that I need to know. You have a book of people who were close enough to him to fly on his private plane to and fro.
There's his phone logs too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of which
you
Donald
really
Trump
need-
shows up like frequently. Donald Trump shows up in the phone logs in between calls that Epstein was specifically doing to book clients for molesting children, and then in between those calls, Donald
Really?
Trump was showing up. Yes, like that's about as incriminating as it gets, outside of maybe
Yeah.
him calling you his best friend, which he also did.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
And I thought that flying on the Lolita Express 7 times was incriminating. But this is worse.
Right.
Although to be fair to Donald Trump, Bill Clinton flew on it 17 times between 2002 and 2003. What I find so funny is that the right, they're all about, oh my God, we've got to expose this cabal. And they talk about how Bill Clinton is very obviously implicated. There's all these photographs of them together. And today I asked one of the Republican lawmakers who was calling on Bondi to release this, has it ever occurred to you that maybe Trump doesn't want to release this because there's a cover-up? And there were so many MAGA chuds that responded. They were like, no, idiot, calling me the R slur. I thought that they were just like pretending to be ignorant, but they actually genuinely believe that Trump is not associated with Epstein. Like it's so wild to me. It still goes back to when Donald Trump was convicted of the 34 felonies. You had accounts tweeting out like, I can't believe that they got Donald Trump before they got any of Epstein's clients. It feels like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. Like they can't be this stupid, but apparently they are.
they only care if they're taking down Democrats, right? Like I've posted videos, like I as a meme, I took the entirety of that Mickey Mouse cartoon that just got put in the public domain, and I actually superimposed the entire Epstein client list as well as all of the names just on the video, just as a joke, being like, public domain is awesome. Look what you can do, right? And then every Republican who replied to it was just like, a lot of Democrats on there. You're seeing a lot of Democratic names. So I was like, yeah, and like I want to call out those people. I will call out Bill Clinton for being a fucking pedophile all over the Epstein files. Now you try. Now your turn.
Yeah.
Like
Your
they
turn.
think we're gonna be like, leave Bill Clinton alone.
Yeah, I
Like, I don't give a fuck about
Yeah.
Bill Clinton. He's a pervert. There's something definitely up with him. I mean, give me a
He's
break.
a pedophile
Yeah.
rapist. Yeah.
He's a degenerate.
He has no business
He's
being
an
in public
absolute
office.
degenerate. And he
Yeah.
had the audacity
But,
to accuse Bernie Sanders of sexism because he ran against Hillary Clinton. Like, I remember being
I
so
know.
pissed off. Another element to the story that I just want to pull up here for you all is that they released the quote-unquote Epstein files, the redacted files, and it was just all these grifters on the right who got it. You have libs of TikTok all excited
Pedophile
about her little
collectors.
binder. Yeah, I mean, like, really,
that's-
libs of TikTok? That's who you're gonna pick?
That's what I wanted to mention. Like, look how they're acting. Like we're having fun here, making fun of the right's mockery of this stuff, but
And
they're
hypocrisy.
actually making a mockery of the actual thing. Like,
Yeah.
they're joking about these files that include material about the sexual abuse and assault of something like 200 girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 250, right? It's a giant number.
Human trafficking.
And I should point out, I don't know if you see him in this clip. I can't tell. Pull that clip up one more time. I mean, he's right next to him. He might just be out of
Mike
the frame. I've
Cernovich
seen
is there.
Yes. Mike Cernovich
Oh, is he?
is one of the
Okay, give
guys
me
who
a
they
sec.
gave the Epstein files. Mike Cernovich worked alongside Alan Dershowitz to go after one of the girls who accused Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep. Not like
He's an
and,
Epstein
you know,
defender with Alan
you're also
Dershowitz.
saying that
Wow.
you're not even bringing up the fact that he ran a blog on like sexual assault back in the day. Like the guy has so much fucked up shit in his past to like then see him there, some kind of like truth warrior.
No, he's just. Oh no, there he is in the back. There he is in the back. He
Okay.
just walked by
Yeah.
in the back.
Absolutely
So
despicable.
the
human.
guy in front, he's that guy who runs that meme account DC Drano. That's that
Oh,
guy.
okay.
And then the girl right there is Chaya Rychik of Libs
Chaya
of
Rychik.
TikTok. And then Chaya Rychik of Libs of TikTok. And then right there, you can see him. Mike Cernovich is there. And then next to Mike Cernovich is conspiracy theorist Liz Wheeler. And
Cool.
Jack Posobiec is there too, somewhere just out of frame in this video.
Cool.
So to show you how bad it is, I just want to share Laura Loomer's feed because Broken Clock.
Oh god,
right?
she has been
She actually-
just unhinged all day.
She's rightfully pissed off about this. The influencer cover up has now begun. Deny. There's one person who
Well, 'cause
takes the
she's
blame for
pissed
what happened
because
today.
she's
It's
not-
Pam Bondi. Of course not Trump.
Laura Loomer goes after these people because she's jealous of them because she's not an insider. Like she thought that quickie on the
Right.
private plane with Trump was gonna give her some inside track, but it didn't. She's still an outsider. She was an insider for a hot minute, and then
Now,
It's kind of it's the Milo effect.
Plane.
quickie
Yeah,
can mean a
yeah.
lot of things. Take it, interpret it however you'd like.
Okay. I will. So on the subject of sex trafficking, which is the worst segue ever now that those words have come out of my mouth, we have the Tate brothers in the USA.
Yeah,
And
isn't that
you
wild
have-
that basically the Epstein pedophile network, the legacy continues under Trump, his best friend, by basically pressuring the Romanian government to release or allow the Tate brothers to travel to the US and completely invalidate their flight blocks. Like this one is so fucked up that even Ron DeSantis was calling it out. Like that's how you know this shit is fucked.
Well, because they landed in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. Like this is the guy, Trump I'm talking about. This is the guy who opened up his first presidential run in 2015 as a Republican, I should say, which ended up winning. He opened it up by complaining that Mexico was sending their criminals, their thugs, their rapists. And
Some of
he's
them,
just
I assume, are good
welcomed
people.
the Romanian criminal thug rapists, the Tate brothers.
Human trafficking pedophiles.
Yeah, I just feel like our country is now a magnet for sex traffickers and pedophiles, and now that Donald Trump has introduced the idea of a gold
You
card.
You got to add an addendum here. White
True.
sex traffickers,
Yeah.
white Republican sex traffickers, white right-wing straight male sex traffickers.
Oh, Andrew Tate is multiracial, so I guess that would, break those rules.
That's a good
But
point.
y'all do have a lot of rapists now in the administration as well, right? Like there's a lot of either rapists or accused rapists who are actually in positions of power as either, what is it? Mike Hegseth is
Andrew Tate.
accused of sexually assaulting someone.
Right. Yeah.
When Trump
him
looks
too.
at Andrew Tate, he doesn't see a Mexican or like a Haitian or an African.
So
He sees Andrew
the
Tate.
thing about the gold card is that, you can buy your way into the United States if you have $5 million to spare, which is, that's pretty affordable for most people. Or you could just be a pedophile or a sex trafficker and you get in for free, as evidenced by everything that's been happening. It just feels so embarrassing to be an American right now. We will never live this down, nor should we. And it's not like I don't want to be one of those people who's like, oh my God, the international order has been destroyed, because it was already destroyed. Joe Biden did that with the genocide in Gaza. But now when you see what's happening, like him basically accusing Ukraine of invading Russia and then voting against them on the UN Security Council, or voting to not condemn Russia on the UN Security Council.
Voting
I feel like all of our foreign
Russia
policies
is wild.
well, it's all on parity now, right? Because you've got them voting pro-genocide, and now we're also pro-Ukraine invasion. So
Even
we're just
China
officially the bad
abstained.
guys. Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
we are
that's
truly
wild.
the bad guys. I think that
Pull up that
silver
pull up that
lining-
tweet again. Pull up that tweet one more
Which
time
one?
about Tate. The tweet, the Tate tweet.
Oh, okay,
Tate
yeah.
tweet.
Let me.
The Tate tweet. The Tate tweet.
The Tate tweet.
Say that 10 times fast. Tate tweet. Tate tweet. Tate tweet.
Okay,
Did you lose it? I'm sorry. I waited too long.
No, I have it back. It's okay.
Because it's amazing. It's amazing. There's so many of these people. It's the Felford Again Award over and over and over and over and over again. Pull up Matt. Don't show Matt's because he's not implicated in this. He's a good guy.
He's just making fun of them because this
yeah.
is the MAGA supporter here.
Abby Libby, who's a right winger. I voted for an administration that would stop human trafficking at our borders. I voted to get rapists and pedophiles off the streets. Trump's action in freeing the Tate brothers was a stunning betrayal of this mandate. I'm sorry. It's the sideshow Bob stepping on the rake over and over and over and over and over. I could be here for the next 2.5 hours saying over and over and over and over again. everything that these guys feign shock and awe at, we know about Trump and have known about Trump for at least a decade, certainly more. It comes up every single time. These guys are either liars or they're just stupid.
It's both.
I think maybe the Tate brothers is one of those things that really puts a schism for the right, maybe amongst like, a certain subset of the right that are, I would say with good reason, willing to call out how fucking horrifying these two people are. I mean, you don't even need to be like, oh, I don't know whether or not it's true, whether he human trafficked anyone in Romania or not. Okay, even if you want to say that he was innocent of that, there's ample video footage of Andrew Tate admitting to either having sex with a 16-year-old when he was an adult, his brother admitting to having sex with a minor when he was also an adult, his brother making courses on how to take the virginity of high school students. Like, even if you want to say, okay, maybe he didn't do the human trafficking, there's like more than enough recorded video evidence that they've made themselves that they are rapist pedophiles, right? So I think for some Republicans who actually do legitimately care about rapist pedophiles, this is one of those things where it's like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck do we square this,
I just don't see how you're a Republican who cares about rapist pedophiles and supported Donald Trump in the administration.
Oh, you mean this is the rapist pedophile?
Like this is literally like the rape.
I mean, that was going to be the lesser of two evils in your mind.
I'm going to vote for the rapist pedophile administration to stop the rapist and pedophiles. Like, it's literally like the campaign slogan: "We're rapists and pedophiles."
I think they've probably tried to justify it by saying that, like, Joe Biden was worse. So
like,
in that respect, Trump is the better rapist pedophile.
Like, let's say you're able to look past Trump stuff. Like, he's the president. You believe he's going to put forth a good administration, so you're willing to look past that, which is insane to begin with, but let's just give them that. He is surrounded by rapists and pedophiles. It's every other day, a new right-wing Republican or a conservative evangelical Christian is getting arrested for raping and being a pedophile.
Yep. People are saying to turn up your mic, Binder.
My mic? Oh, it's up as much as it can go, I think. I don't know why that is. All right, I'll see what I can do.
It sounds okay to me, but then again, I could hear fine. It's usually like everybody else who can't hear. Okay, so on that note, so we actually have a guest here today who is the perfect person to talk to in these times. She was on before, actually. She's one of our first guests, and she is back. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Hello.
We can't hear you. I think you're just muted.
Oh, I'll mute.
Yeah, I think you're muted.
There we go.
Is that good?
There we go. Yeah, hey, great. Welcome back.
How y'all boys doing?
Good. How are
doing
you?
well. How are you?
Odd time to drop in, but
yeah.
I'm reporting live from my I don't even know what to call Louisiana these days. I can't too much call it a state. I think we're just like a loose assembly of people trying to make it down here, but it's good to see y'all again.
Yeah. Good to see you too. Yeah. Last time you came on, it was like 2022. It was during the height of the, what COVID wave was that? I can't remember.
I can't call it the good old days, but.
Yeah, right. I thought things were bad then. And now you're back. And measles is back too. And I felt like it would be really it'd be nice to get your input on this as an epidemiologist, because I feel like long term things are so bad. And like, I know that you're dealing with stuff that a lot of us don't even comprehend. I was talking to Gabrielle on Twitter, and like my friend who is a scientist is talking about how so many words are banned, and if you applied for a grant with certain words like equality or like mathematical terms, even like distribution,
equality is
those
banned?
are banned. There's a huge long list of words. So I was hoping that, Gabrielle, you can give us the rundown, because I genuinely don't think people understand how bad it is for people in your position right now.
I think I gotta say I'm at a rather privileged position, because I do work in private industry. I don't work for the government, thank God. And it could not be. I've been talking to so many kids who are in grad school, getting their, their DRPH, their Doctorate of Public Health, their Master of Public Health, terrified of what this job market looks like. Because the majority of people, when they graduate in this type of field in public health, they're going straight to the government. I mean, the vast majority. It's an anomaly for me to have gone into private industry. And they're terrified because they feel as though, okay, well, what do I do in this atmosphere that is so anti-intellectual and so anti-science and whatnot? And I think that it is both the best of times and the worst of times to be in my field, because no matter what, political party is in power, science will always exist. There will always be a need for what it is that I do. Epidemiology is not going anywhere. These diseases are not going anywhere. And I have been encouraged because there has been, as our administration dismantles what it is that we know to be our public health infrastructure, there are so many people asking questions. I was on Blue Sky, which is kind of my domain now. I can't do Twitter no more, man. I can't be over there.
Your tweets are fire though, by the way.
Man, I'm posting from like third-party apps, man. I can't be over there, man. Like I can't. They calling me everything but a child of God over there, man. I can't do that.
Oh, it's so bad.
But I'm encouraged because on Blue Sky tonight, somebody asked me one question. They were like, "Hey, man, like how do I need to get like a measles vaccine? Like, I'm grown. Like, what do I need to do?" I was like, I told somebody, I was like, okay, I did pay attention in school. Okay, let's talk about it. And so it kind of triggered off this entire discussion on Blue Sky where people were just asking questions. And I think the best thing you can do is arm yourself with information. I think when it comes to the vaccine discussion, people are talking about it more so in very surface level. Like when we're talking about measles, people don't really have it. Like you ask the average person, they have no idea what the symptomology of measles is. They have no idea what the real risks are of this. And so here I am, I'm happy to tell you. Like I always tell people, you have to meet people where they are. If you tell people, hey, you need to get a measles vaccine, that's typically in one ear and out the other. I typically, and this is why I don't do field epidemiology, because I'm told I'm a little intense, but I typically
you have to be.
You have to be. I convinced my grandparents to get Tdap boosters. Tdap is the vaccine for tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis, or otherwise known as whooping cough, because I told them that we had a new child coming into the family. And I told them, hey, people typically die from pertussis because they cough so much they suffocate and die. And that's a hell of a way to go, isn't it? People need to hear that. People need to hear that. People need to hear about measles and the fact that it's R0 is its basic reproductive number. So every disease, or every acute disease, every infectious disease typically has a basic reproductive number. And that is the amount of people that one infected person can go on to infect. Measles has one of the highest basic reproductive numbers. It's not a static number. It can change. It is dynamic. It can be anywhere from roughly 12 to 18, meaning that one infected person with measles can go on to infect 12 to 18 people. Wow. So picture one infected kid infecting a classroom of people. And when you're talking about the symptoms, I mean, let's get into it. Measles ain't nothing to fuck with. Like it keeps me up at night.
I've seen the pictures. It looks horrifying.
And beyond the pictures, measles causes what is known as immune amnesia. It essentially attacks your immune system to the point that it makes it forget all of its natural and acquired immunity, meaning it is reverting your entire immune system back to the state of like a newborn child almost. So you are immunocompromised immediately upon acquiring it, as soon as it's done with you anyway. And so I think that a lot of people need to know what is at stake when we're talking about these things. Like I told someone on Blue Sky, I mean, listen, if you want to die like an 18th century Victorian child of a highly preventable disease, then that's fine. But I'm at least going to do what I can to arm you with as much information as possible.
Yeah,
but
I wanted
isn't
to.
that like not enough? Because there's the problem of like you can still have outbreaks for people who are vaccinated because of mutations, right? Like don't we have to basically convince everyone who might be, you know, still on the fence about this that like this isn't something to fuck with? We need to actually take this really seriously. Like this could eventually spiral out of control.
That's a twofold question, to be honest with you. That's a real twofold question. So let's break this down a bit. The people who are saying, okay, hey girls, I got sick from the flu vaccine. I had already taken it and whatnot, so y'all can get fucked. The flu vaccine doesn't work, so yada, yada, yada. So every virus, every bacteria, every pathogen is not the same. It's not the same. The flu is an RNA virus. It's, how do I say this? Let me break this down. The flu is an RNA virus. RNA viruses are not as stable as, say, like a DNA virus, double-stranded, has a stronger proofreading system. And so that is why it is constantly mutating. Every year we're using science, and science is a process. I always tell people this, science is a process. We're using educated guesses in order to be able to guess which, and again, these are highly educated guesses. I think that people think we're just throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. No, these are the process of making these vaccines, the process of getting to this point has been studied. Like, I just don't understand how people think that we're just sticking anything in people's bodies. I can't really touch too much on that, but every pathogen is not built the same. And so when we're talking about which pathogens mutate faster than others, some do. The vaccines that we create for them, some have a higher antibody response and whatnot. Maybe they take one dose, maybe they take multiple doses. It really just depends. It truly depends. We have to have a seasonal flu vaccine every single year because the flu mutates every single year. You have 4 to 5 wild types any given moment and whatnot, but you also have that new strain every single year moving through the environment, getting smarter, learning how to survive, learning how to stabilize itself. And we have to account for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not
measles.
That's not necessarily the case for measles. In fact, once you get, someone asked me today, hey, like I was talking about with Blue Sky, hey, do I need to go ahead and get a measles booster? That really depends. I mean, when you get your measles vaccine, I think it's a multi-dose, multi-course, or it used to be, because some vaccines have changed their courses. When you're vaccinated as a child for measles, that's lifelong immunity for most people. Most people have lifelong immunity for measles. But there are people who are like healthcare workers. You are in a high contagion area with people who work around children, people who work in nursing homes. You are in a high contagion area around immunocompromised people, because to be very young or to be very old is to be immunocompromised by its very definition. To be sick in the hospital, you are immunocompromised. I think that's another thing that I think it's another way we have failed as a public health infrastructure in this country to really talk to people and disseminate public health information and let them know, hey, these categories are not, pie in the sky ideals and whatnot. No, you fall into these categories. This is what these words mean. And so, no, as far as a lot of these vaccines, like I said, Tdap, you only need a booster every 10 years. And so, and it's less to do with the mutations and more so to do with your antibody response in your own body. And I tell people that all the time too, when they talk about, okay, well, I still got sick from the flu vaccine and whatnot, even though I had it. It takes time for your body to build up an antibody response. The reason why some vaccines are one dose, some vaccines are multi-dose, is because in clinical trials, they have been tested to measure that antibody response. If a vaccine is one dose, that means in the clinical trial, it produced such an antibody response in that population that it only needed one dose. And that antibody response sustained itself over time. If a vaccine is multi-dose, that means that the first dose produced an antibody response and whatnot, but they felt as though in order to sustain that response and for that response to proliferate over time, there needed to be a second dose. So that is how that is determined. So it has to do less with mutation sometimes. Because again, some of these pathogens are not viruses. They are also bacteria, and bacteria can mutate. All these things work together. Again, science is a process. So we're looking at all of these things. We're looking at how your body reacts to this. We're looking at how the pathogen is reacting to this. We're looking at how it's moving through populations. We're looking at it over time. So it all works together. It ain't no one way.
Yeah, the way you explain it makes it so much more like comprehensible to somebody like me, where usually
you're really
my
good
eyes glaze
communicator.
over, and it's just like, oh my god, this is a lot. No, I appreciate it. So Gabrielle, I really wanted to pick your brain about our new Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., and particularly like, what do you think the long-term consequences will be of these next 4 years? And also, I wanted to ask your opinion about this. I know that the last measles death was in 2015, but he says that measles outbreaks are not unusual. U.S. doctors say he's wrong. I think we already can anticipate your response to this, but like in general, what do you think can happen within these next 4 years if he does, like, worst case scenario, best case scenario? It's hard to anticipate because we're only in month 1.5.
What Mike's trying to say is, why do you like him so much, and just how much do you like him?
Yeah, is he right about everything or almost everything?
I think that the tweets in which Mike is talking about that got me invited on this show are probably mostly about RFK Jr.
It's so fire. You have to follow Gabrielle if you're not, by the way.
I'll have to check out her post celebrating his ascension to the I'm sure it was a big celebration.
That one honestly was scary.
Surely.
That was the scariest one for me personally.
I was mostly I'll say, because people have asked me what could happen, what is worst case scenario, and a lot of people, because they have no concept of, well, I'll start here. A lot of people believe that, okay, in 4 years, whatever the damage of this is, it can be rectified in 4 years if we all just vote. You know what I mean? If we all just vote, we'll fix it, whatever it is, even if it's bodies in the street. But vote harder, bro. Just one more vote, bro. Just one more fucking vote, bro. But science don't necessarily work like that, boys. And I hate to be the one to tell everybody. That's why they don't want to invite me to the party, because I be telling people, oh.
We're already dooming, so it's okay. Black pill us more. It's fine.
Yeah.
I be telling people, like, there's an epidemiological concept called overshoot. Overshoot is, it typically refers to a situation where a number of people have been, how is this? And I'm gonna give y'all an example too. I'm gonna go real old school. The example my Epi 2 professor gave me. The concept of overshoot refers to a situation where so many people have been infected with a disease where it temporarily exceeds the capacity of that population's health infrastructure to manage it. And so I always tell people there is a threshold for which our healthcare infrastructure can manage anything. There's a certain number of beds at the hospital, boys. Like, there's a certain number of doctors in any given area. Mm-hmm. There's a threshold for which we can manage things. I mean, think of any zombie movie you've ever seen. There is a threshold. And so, and this is not, I think a lot of the Trump supporters and whatnot like to compare this to COVID, where they say, oh, it's endemic now. No, overshoot is not endemic. Picture you're driving a car, right? You're driving a car, and not these newfangled cars. Let's come with me in like a 96 Ford Ranger, y'all. You're driving a car and you're going, like, you're on the interstate, you're going just a regular speed, okay? And then you just rip the key out that thing. Like, you just rip it out. For a certain period of time, that car is still gonna run. It's still gonna go. Even if you're not accelerating, you're not braking, but you're not accelerating, that car is still gonna go. that is kind of what overshoot is, where we've done everything we kind of can to we've thrown everything we can at this particular pathogen, but even so, now we're in this period of overshoot where it has exceeded our threshold to handle it. And overshoot typically happens when, one, it happens very early, very, very early in the stages of a pathogen outbreak, very early. Or it happens when we relax measures to address it too early. And I keep telling people, because bird flu is waiting in the wings to beat our asses.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's another thing we have to ask you about later.
I keep telling people that people are like, okay, well, if it does get bad, everybody can just get vaccinated. Everybody, we can formulate, a vaccine like we did for COVID, for whatever. We can fix it. But I think that people truly have a misunderstanding of what public health actually is, because in that period of overshoot, we're going to be playing catch up for whatever is happening. Just kind of like how we're doing with COVID now. Mm-hmm. It's going to be convincing people that science is actually real. Trying to, when all of it hits the fan, convincing people science is actually real, trying to get our medical infrastructure on board with our public health infrastructure, because those two things are not the same. And I'll get to that in a moment. It's going to be finding the people again who have been trained to deal with this. I remember seeing the headlines about Elon Musk essentially firing the CDC's Epidemic Intelligence Service, and EIS are the best scientists in the world. They make $75K a year to basically drop into everything from like a Listeria outbreak at like a Walmart in North Dakota, all the way to that measles outbreak in Texas, all the way to like an Ebola outbreak out in Africa. Like, they go where the need is, and that's what they do. And so I think that people truly believe that there's going to be some kind of pill or some kind of just ready-made infrastructure ready to go overnight that will just reverse all of this. That this is all just kind of, it'll work itself out. It's all some kind of pantomiming, that this isn't really happening, or that there's some kind of backup plan. And brother, I'm here to tell you, there isn't. Public health is all about prevention, whereas medicine is all about, like, it's reactionary. I always tell people that there is a difference between the two. And so it's all about putting the arsenal together. You have to work those things together. And
can I just ask,
go ahead, yeah.
on that topic, for like, I know, like, say, liberal family members who have suggested that, like, if I'm vaccinated, why should I care? I mean, if idiots want to, like, not vaccinate their children and there's an outbreak and they're the ones who get sick, like, it won't affect me. But to your point, like, like, the bigger danger is just overwhelming the entire, like, public healthcare infrastructure, right?
I mean, sure, you're vaccinated. One, it doesn't work. Like, first of all, it doesn't work like that, baby. Like, I've always told people too, like this, and that's another thing. That's where that is really the true chasm between public health and medicine, is that medicine and how we typically deal with our health is very individualized. When you go to the doctor, you're dealing with your individual health. Whereas public health demands a communal approach. It demands you care about what is happening at a communal level. And that's where we failed as a country. And so for people saying, because there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, they're like, well, I'm vaccinated, so I don't give a fuck about y'all. And I did say on Blue Sky, listen, I got 20 boxes of N95s in here. So when y'all start hollering about we're all going to fucking die, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, because it's not going to be me.
So we should order a bunch of N95s is what you're saying.
I've been stocked up on N95 since 2021, brother. Like, I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be chilling here. Okay. It's not going to be the last of us at my house. But I always tell people, like, that's not how it works when you're talking about communicable infectious diseases. Because one, you can still be a carrier, regardless of if you're infected or not. And two, the overwhelming of our public health infrastructure, we saw it during COVID. I just don't understand how people's memories are so short. People could not have their necessary surgeries because the ORs were full of people trying to have life-saving surgery. My own brother contracted COVID, thought that COVID was bullshit, science is for the white man, all this shit, vaccines is bullshit, got COVID, fell into a coma, and in a week was dead at 31. And so this shit is real life.
I'm really sorry.
I tell people all the time, and the bed that he was taking up, the bed that he took up in 2021 is a bed that's taken away from somebody else. We have limited resources and we have a limited infrastructure in this country. And we're only limited even more by dashing Medicaid, dashing Medicare, slashing the budget for the VA and whatnot. Because I mean, even as I was growing up, my father was a retired veteran and whatnot. A lot of times people can't get to the VA hospital. Ours was an hour and a half away. And so you're talking about the rural areas, especially here in the South, are going to feel this when all this starts to kind of push together, are going to feel this like no other.
Mm-hmm. I was curious about the...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to ask you, because I know that you said that you're in the private sector, so you're not necessarily directly affected by a lot of the stuff happening at the federal level, but I'm curious about like the...
That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the blackout, because I know that scientists across the country, they access the information and the data from the federal government. So can you talk about how you've been affected just in your job with this blackout and just like all of these new policies put in place by the Trump administration?
Well, personally, and I tweeted about it, I called my boss crying when it all started happening. I was like, are we all about to get fired? What is going on, girl? I will say this. So I work for a private healthcare company. And so that's why I was really freaking out. And so I do not work on like the market side. I do not control, who gets what plans and whatnot. But healthcare in and of itself, like the government, I think a lot of people think that the government handles like insurance and things of that nature. They also don't handle a lot of their data. They contract a lot of that out to different people. And so we work with the government for a lot of different things, including tracking of well, honestly, I can't even say. My specialty in grad school was infectious diseases, but I do everything now. I mean, reproductive epi, I do chronic disease epi, I do infectious epi, I do everything now. So we track a multitude of different types of pathogens and different types of chronic diseases and whatnot. And so we're using everything at our disposal. So we work with like the American Cancer Society, we work with the universities, and we all work together to make sure that these different state governments and the federal government have this data. So private industry ends up signing a lot of contracts to kind of that the government uses to offset, essentially, or offload the work to private industry because they don't even have enough people to do the level of work that this takes. When it comes to how we were terrified about being affected, it's the same way the nonprofits were terrified. I mean, the same way that everybody else was terrified. I mean, we all work based upon government grants. I mean, government funding, government loans. And so it was really a touchy time, but I was grateful to hear from my boss that essentially the rumblings now is that everybody who has a TRICARE contract, so all the health plans who have TRICARE contracts, everybody who is essentially a military, everybody who serves the military is going to be fine. If you don't, you're probably fucked, and there's going to be massive layoffs if this new budget passes. I don't know. As far as the policy aspect of it goes, I couldn't even tell you. I don't know, but I can say that from what I'm told, for now, we're okay. At least on my end.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know.
good. No, that's good. aside from the mental health toll it probably takes, just like seeing all of this. Um, I'm curious about, you brought up bird flu. I wanted to get your opinion or your expertise on bird flu more specifically, because this is something that I'm a normie when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I don't necessarily know if this is something that I should dedicate any time and energy worrying about in the near term future. I know it's something to certainly watch, but like, what is the fear with bird flu, and is this something that we should be seriously worried about, like with regard to it becoming another pandemic potentially, or is it just like, I don't know, I want you to reassure me, but I know it's gonna be bad. But
like, well, here. Let me tell you, brother. I've never been accused of being a comforting source of anything. I will say there has not, like, I mean, that 54% fatality rate should keep anybody up at night. But at the end of the day,
yeah.
I will say to the worst news first. Yeah, that 54% fatality rate. Also, just for years, bird flu's kind of always been like the boogeyman, I feel like, in a lot of public health textbooks and how we talk about it and such. The way in which it's always been dealt with is that you track cases immediately, you send everybody out there, you cull anything moving, immediate culling of all the birds, anything that touch, anything that's moving. The biggest fear has always been a species jump. And so I remember someone actually asked me on Blue Sky, they were like, hey, because they don't know. They were like, hey, where can I get a bird flu vaccine? I said, brother, you can't. You can't get one. And the worst part is that the ancestral strains, I mean, the vaccines that we had for avian influenza, I mean, they're all old. They're all based on ancestral strains of this, like things that just don't apply right now. But they were being used as the foundation, as the blueprint for more research, for scientific research and whatnot, to be able to create new strains. I mean, to create new vaccines, to put them in trials, to prepare for the possibility of a new species jump down the line. And so all that research, I mean, all these clinical trials, all that has been paused, all the funding for that has been paused, all that has been stopped. And that's what I keep telling people in terms, the people who believe that in 4 years, we're just going to hit that restart button, baby. We're going to be back at it. Democratic president, just get everybody vote. One more vote, baby. We turn it back on. Turn the lights back on. We're going to do it. That is not how science works. Clinical trials are highly, highly coordinated. You got to have a certain amount of people. They got to have a certain amount of time. You got to have a certain kind of people running it, certain kind of funding to sustain it. Like, that's not how science works. And 4 years is a lifetime. Scientifically, that is a lifetime. To not have any eyes into this is a lifetime. The university is, I'm told, going to be picking up the slack for the most part, because they're still going to be doing their thing. I think as long as they bend the knee, they're going to get their funding, so they keep their scientific research going and whatnot. But I mean,
yeah, it's so bleak, and it's like.
Yeah, that's a horrifying reality. Like it sounds like it's a death cult, really. Ultimately, is what it is, right? Effectively, is what the Republican Party is becoming, or is, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like back during like the height of the anti-mask, anti-vaccine COVID era in the country, I felt like, man, this is really like the peak. Like, I think that we can't get worse than this. And now here we are just a couple of years later, and it's gotten so much more worse. And now, after seeing, what happened in the response to COVID, if anything were to happen, like, we often hear about how, if there was another pandemic right now, we'd be screwed. Like, we would be screwed regardless if Trump won or not, just because of the culture in this country, in my opinion. But like, to see now all the things that are happening to not only undo the progress, but to cripple us in the event there's a pandemic, it is genuinely horrifying. yeah, I don't know how to even process that information, because it's like one of multiple things that I feel like we have to be cognizant of right now. You know, aside from like these cuts that you were talking about as well, Medicaid, potentially food stamps on top of that. I mean, if you can't eat, that's probably also going to affect your health in a very significant way, especially if you're younger. So like all these things are interconnected, and like when one domino falls, the rest of it falls. And so it's like it's hard to figure out how to deal with that. Like, how do you be prepared when they're trying to undo our preparedness? Like, they want to kneecap us.
I think that I'm glad you brought up the fact that the culture in and around it has changed, and that we would have very likely have been screwed regardless of who would have been in office. But of course, I'm not going to equivocate what's happening now with anything that Biden was doing, even though if you've ever seen my tweets, I was not a fan of Joseph Robinette. But I will say, would we not also be still incredibly vulnerable under him? Because I mean, I'm still the only person in my whole town running around this motherfucker with a mask on. So, and that didn't change with homeboy ascending into office. You know what I mean? Like, with everything going on, I think that I always tell people, like, vaccines are not the end all be all. They are a powerful weapon. They are a powerful tool, and we need them. And this assault upon them is absolutely insanity, and it needs to stop immediately. But vaccine rates have been falling for a few years now. The uptake of them has been falling. People are not masking in general, even during like COVID, even during the flu season and whatnot. I mean, we could have stopped the COVID pandemic in its tracks. 6 months of everybody, really probably 6 to 7 months of everybody vaccinated, coordinated social distancing, everybody staying home. We could have beat it. We could have absolutely beat it. The vaccines in and of themselves, the COVID vaccine is one of the greatest feats in human history. And we spit on it. And we decided that, I don't know if out of human hubris or just out of ignorance, that like we just decided that we didn't need it. And now we decided that we don't need any vaccines, and we don't need the social distance, and we're just going to raw dog it through some of these diseases that tore apart a third of the world at one given point. And so I think that keeping all that in mind, because, okay, when they get rid of vaccines, at this point, it's not even an if. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like 4 years from now. I can't say with full guarantee, especially now that, I mean, I having RFK Jr. cancel the FDA's, vaccine and related biologics committee meeting ahead of this flu season. I never thought I'd see nothing like that. Like, just with no warning, so that we won't know the recipe. I mean, we will not. I mean, just, of course, our pharmaceutical companies and whatnot can go to the WHO and just download their recipe and whatnot. They make these things public. But we no longer have our 2 seats at the WHO. We've been pulled out of that.
Right. I was going to ask you about that. Can they do that?
They make it public online. Okay. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm honestly speechless in that regard. I think that, but to answer your question, I think that what this is going to take is a lot of people having really hard looks at themselves and saying, okay, well, what am I doing truly to protect myself, to protect my family, to protect my community? But we're such social creatures. We truly are, that we don't want to be part of any kind of out group, and we don't want to be seen as othered from even strangers, anybody in our community. I don't have a problem wearing a mask because I don't give a fuck about none of y'all. But a lot of people do not want to feel as though they other. They don't want their children to feel as though they are being othered, even if it means a lifelong debilitating disease with long COVID. They still do not want to feel as though they are being othered in some way. They are part of some kind of outgroup. It's sociological at that point. It doesn't matter the consequences. Right. And so this is what we talk about in terms of social determinants of health. What is it going to be to get people to uptake their medicine, to get people to do on the medicinal side, to get people to wear masks, to get people to get their vaccines and whatnot? What are the social ramifications that are working against their health.
Yeah, that's really interesting because yeah, it is sociological. It's that whole social pressure where you don't want to be the odd person out, and yeah, that's part of it. There is a question from one of the chatters here. Nadia asks, how many people with type 1 juvenile diabetes will die of DKA ketoacidosis? I probably butchered that, I'm sorry. When Medicaid stops pay for their insulin, stats don't distinguish diabetes types, and people mostly don't know either. Are you able to speak to that at all?
Brother, let me tell you, my daddy had diabetes. He had type 2 diabetes. I'll say this. As far as the absolute stats, I don't know, baby. I'm sorry. I don't know. What I can say is some of these medications that Medicaid covers cost $1 million. $1 million just flat cost. And so no coverage, like absolute, like no coverage for these people's medications. I tweeted it, and at 4 million views later, I'm being called a racist, and all the Trump supporters are salivating over their chance to shoot everybody. But I tweeted that if you cut, again, social determinants of health, you cut SNAP benefits, you cut WIC benefits, you cut Medicaid, crime will skyrocket. People are not going to watch their children suffer and die. People are not going to go hungry. Hungry people are not hungry for long. And I don't want to speak to the mindset behind it, but it's just a fact. It's a fact throughout history. It's a fact even now. I mean, the United Nations has a food observatory, a food crisis observatory online where they track food prices related to uprisings around the world. Hungry people are not hungry for long. People who don't have access to medicine will do whatever they have to survive. And so I can't speak to the actual stats of that. I can't speak to how that will go, but I do know it will not be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing that I really wanted to get your opinion on was like, one thing that you see and how people kind of get duped by these medical conspiracy theories and anti-vax rabbit holes and whatnot is when you go to these pages, it doesn't look like you would expect a conspiracy medical website to look like. It looks genuinely legitimate. They use a lot of jargon that people like myself, like I wouldn't know. And if you just read it, you would think, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. And like when you remove the voice from RFK Jr. and if you like read what he's saying to somebody who doesn't know any better, which I think is most people, it sounds legitimate. So like, what are some tips you can give people to look out for this kind of stuff so that way they don't get duped by medical misinformation or anything that's like pseudoscientific? Because I feel like as much as you try to insulate yourself from that, it's a possibility to get duped if you're not an expert. So like, is there anything that you can do really to try to, I don't know, be more rigorous when you're consuming this information? Because it sounds legitimate.
Absolutely.
Or how to convince others too. I'd want advice on that because I think that's a really hard thing
great
too.
question.
People I normally don't think of as conspiracy brain will suddenly be like, fluoride is bad if it's in the water supply. It causes high rates of cancer. And like I've done, I've done my research. You'll hear that, and then I'm like,
oh, Mike, I'll get to you in a second. Lance, I'll say I'm so sorry, brother. I'm about a year into saying fuck y'all. I don't give a. Like I'm not gonna argue on it. I got 3 degrees on that wall, bitch. I don't care about y'all. What are you talking about? Like I'm a year away from paying off $137,000 of grad school loan debt, brother. Like, do you think I'm about to argue with you bitches about a goddamn fucking thing of it? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck about nothing y'all talking about. So as far as convincing people, oh brother, that is
too many people are so far gone,
my boy.
Yeah.
If y'all want to die, I had a mentor who straight up said, "Listen, if you want to die, brother, my checks are gonna clear regardless," and that's what it is. Like we're at that point, and I'm at that point. I'm
so
waiting for everybody else to join me. I don't know, like.
What are you supposed to do if they don't want to listen? It's so frustrating. I have people in my family that are like this. It is it's like a brick wall. Like arguing with them is completely pointless. Completely pointless.
It's so incredible to me because do you think that me sitting here right now with not one but two parents who died of cancer, my adopted father, my biological mother, both of them died of cancer. Do you think that I would be sitting here drinking water out the fucking tap if I thought with my whole heart of hearts that fucking fluoride in the tap water caused cancer? And like, my boy, what? Like, and it's something, it's so important too that I tell people, like, when you talk about convincing people of things, what you have to remember, Lance, is that one of the, and it's one of the most incredible lessons that I've ever learned from the Jewish community in terms of the signs and symptoms of fascism. Anti-intellectualism is one of the top signs of rising fascism in a country. Outright, it's not about convincing anyone of anything. It's about an outright rejection of intellectualism. It's not even that they're arguing with you in good faith or that they're arguing with you about a particular point. It's not about that. It's a cognitive dissonance based upon, again, not wanting to be part of a particular out group. It's an us. It's not based on anything. It's based on an us versus them mentality. It is not, so arguing it is nonsensical. It's not worth anything. And so
save your breath is what.
Save your breath. Save your breath. Because here's the thing: if you are in community, in relationship with this person, if you have memories and time, and you are in tandem with this person and whatnot, if you in and of yourself existing alongside them are looking them in the eye and telling them, hey, I care about you. I care about your safety. I care about your wellness. And I'm telling you this because I want you to be safe. If that ain't good enough, brother, ain't nothing a piece of fucking paper that wipe their ass with that shit. It don't matter. So save your breath and just fucking chill. Yeah. Now, Mike, back to you. What you said again?
No, I was just curious if there's anything that we can do to make ourselves better prepared to sniff out the bullshit. Because, like, for somebody like me, if I just see a bunch of medical jargon, it's hard to, and I stumbled across this problem during the height of like the anti-vax hysteria. I did a lot of videos on like anti-vaxxers. And when you look at their websites, it doesn't look like a quack website. It doesn't look like InfoWars. It looks like a legitimate medical website. So they sound so convincing. And when I see this, it's like, oh, well, I can't like debunk this myself. And if I'm just a normal person, if I stumble across this, it just feels like it's easy to get duped.
No, you can debunk it. Yes, you can. First things first. Take it all the way back to computer class. I've been teaching the kids this. Yes, you fucking can, Mike. Number one, is that shit a .com website or a .org website? If it's a .com, it's probably bullshit. Okay. Like if they are not an organization, if this is not a .org website you're looking at, it's probably horse shit. Okay.
Okay. That's a really good point.
It's so easy to get duped to because they love to couch. I've listened to, it's like nails on a chalkboard, but I've listened to that fucking heroin addict talk, and he is couching a couple things. It's so, that's how you get people, when you couch a little bit of truth and the outright lies. You gotta sandwich it. You gotta sandwich it. He'll sandwich some nonsense and whatnot in betwixt some actual facts, but I remember he, quote unquote, cited his source and whatnot. And just the doctor, quote unquote, like the doctor, the scientist and whatnot that he cited. Look these people up. This is something that my entire state actually just had a lesson in, because we just found out that the Louisiana Surgeon General is not even a real board certified physician. And so
seriously.
So NPR just exposed him, something that everybody should have already known. Homeboy's a fucking veterinarian. And so people need to be looking up who these people are. Like, You need to look these things up. Who are the people that these people are citing? Because that's how these websites and stuff will get you. They'll be like, okay, well, this doctor said this. Check that book. Google this person. What state are they certified in? Look up that board. Look up their board certification. Where are they board certified at? What are they board certified in? Where did they go to school? We got to break it all the way down. And when they are citing these studies, because this tends to be the hardest part, because we are taught this in grad school, what biases, like study biases and things of that nature and whatnot. How many people were used in this study? That matters. That matters. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he knows that the general public does not know how to, why you hear, you got to look at the studies. You got to look at the studies. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. citing a study done in Poland 50 fucking years ago and whatnot about that included absolutely no Black people, by the way. No Black people. That was based off pure conjecture from a bunch of fucking racists and some asshole who didn't even have a degree saying, Black kids' immune system are stronger than white people's, so they don't really need vaccines.
Oh, yeah. He was questioned about that too at the confirmation hearing, and one of these senators was like, so what vaccines do I need that white people don't need? And he literally didn't have a response for it.
He didn't have a response for it because it's fucking nonsense, brother. It's nonsense. It's all fucking nonsense. Dissect what you are reading. Look up every single thing you are reading. And this is the thing. I always tell people, it's not that the Trump supporters want you to think that questioning anything is the problem, and what they don't want us to question anything. They want you to no. Science is a process. Look up in these studies. It'll tell you, hey, was this peer reviewed? Who sponsored this? If the study was paid for by Focus on the Family, I probably wouldn't take too much stock in it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If a religious organization is paying for a study, because it'll tell you in the study who paid for it, who sponsored it. Anything from a religious organization, horseshit. Throw it out. Mm-hmm. Immediate bias. If there's not a ton of people in the study, if only 10 people participated in this shit and whatnot, it's not even generalizable to the population. If this has not been peer reviewed by anybody, if nobody has looked at this, because it'll say if it's been peer reviewed, it's horseshit. It's all bullshit. And the general public needs to know that. So just because you're seeing something that says it's a study, sure, 5 assholes sat in a conference room somewhere probably and put this together and printed it out and make it a study. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is possible, Mike, to debunk this shit. It is.
Okay. That's some really good tips, actually. I'm glad that you said that. Yeah. Because
can I ask a quick follow-up question?
Sure.
Yeah, because now I have a million. Just back to what you were saying in terms of the people who are just willing to believe just nonsensical bullshit. I completely agree with you on that too. If someone was to tell me hey, you should be drinking unpasteurized milk, I'd be like, enjoy getting sick because you're just going to have wild diarrhea or something worse, right? But to the thing you were saying earlier about something like COVID, where it does require communal participation and it does require us, as a society to do things on a large scale. Otherwise, we completely overrun our healthcare system. That's more what I'm talking about in what do you think is the best strategy in order to get past that anti-intellectualism? Because it does become important at that point. As much as I want to say, fuck them, if someone isn't actually going to follow through on a lot of really easy things like wash your hands, Jesus Christ, learn how to wash your hands, right? But on that scale,
rejects germ theory, by the way. Just had to throw it.
Yes, he does. So I will say my personal theory of fuck them is it works for me and it makes me be able to sleep at night, because the mental health toll all of this can take can be a lot. But my betters, my colleagues, will say that there has to at some point be some kind of truth and reconciliation, and that within that, for the betterment of all of us, the convincing comes from a welcoming as opposed to a lecturing. And that only comes from an education. And that education has to be harsh. That's why I always tell, it doesn't have to be stern in terms of like kind of what I think social media has turned into. But it has to appeal to logic, and it has to appeal to what these people care about most, because no matter what, these people are still human, and they are still susceptible to the same fears that we are. They are still parents who are at their base level trying to do right by their kids. And so in this work group that I'm a part of at work, and we're working with the American Cancer Society, trying to essentially convince parents that the HPV vaccine is not going to encourage their children to start having sex, nor is it going to kill them in some kind of way. It's especially important for us to encourage their boys to get vaccinated, because roughly in the research that I've pulled, roughly boys stop getting vaccinated for HPV roughly 13 years old. And if you do not get vaccinated for this, especially because there is no test for HPV in men, it can lead to oropharyngeal cancer. It can lead to all types of things down the line. And so we have now kind of started to tell people, hey, overall, this is a cancer prevention vaccine. This is something you are doing as a parent to better the lives of your child down the line. This is a lifelong decision you are making. And I say this example to say that it's all about how you approach and how you broach a subject. I think what a lot of people heralded Tim Walz for was the personal attacks that he made on Republicans, where he was very much, y'all are fucking weirdos and whatnot. And yeah, we can cheer that on because it's true. But in terms of welcoming these people to the fold, and in terms of getting them to cooperate in a communal aspect, and one that saves all of our lives, and from a public health aspect, it has to be something that lets them know that their fate is just as intertwined with ours.
I'm wondering if, and it's dark to say this, but like, this is a thought that I've been pondering lately. Do you think it has to get worse before it gets better? Like,
absolutely,
COVID should have been the crisis that kind of like snapped us out of it. At the beginning of COVID, I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity for us, like silver lining, to try to encourage Medicare for all. I mean, we have the free vaccines. That's like our experimentation with free healthcare. Like, there it is right there. It works. It saved lives. But it seems like everybody's anti-vaccine. We're no closer to Medicare for all. And so, like, part of me thinks it has to get worse before it gets better, to where people
I
feel
thought a certain
like
amount
they
of
have
death was going to do it during COVID in the
Yeah.
United States. I thought, like, at a certain amount of, like, at a point when people started having, like, not just, like, maybe a random uncle, but, like, their brothers or sisters, everyone they know start to die, that
Yeah.
at some point they're going to stop being like, this isn't real. It'd be like, but then, like, I heard and interviewed doctors who were like, people on their deathbeds were still, like, denying that COVID was a thing. And I was like, well, then at what point does it reach, like a critical mass?
Right.
Like
Like,
over a
is there
million
gonna-
deaths.
Well,
in the
for
United States.
some of, I mean, for some of those, it requires, like, especially post the vaccine, it requires those people to confront the reality that they fucked up. That, like, there's a good chance they would
That's
have been
true.
okay if they had gotten vaccinated. Like, maybe they still would have gotten sick, but there was a good chance they would survive it. I mean, there was a lot of stories when, when the vaccine came out that first year, of people on their deathbed saying, "Okay, give me the vaccine," and the doctor's like, "It's too late. It's too late. We wanted to give it to you before, and now you're here, and it's not going to do anything. I'm sorry," and they would die. People will deflect, and people would rather die than confront the fact that they were wrong about something.
Absolutely. And that is called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And I also think
Gabrielle.
yes.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. There was another chat question, but I'll
No,
let you
go
go ahead
ahead.
and finish
Take it
that.
next.
So Maintain had a question about left-wing conspiracy theorists. This is actually really interesting because I know some of these people, more hippie types. Thanks, Gabrielle. How do you approach the seemingly lefty conspiracy brain folks? My SIL was diagnosed with stage 1, very treatable cancer. My bro and her are anti-vax and decided juice veggies. She's stage 4 and dying. That's like a whole different can of worms compared to like the right-wing conspiracy theorists, because I feel like
there is,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even
go
know,
ahead, man.
because this extends to be like, I think the greatest example of this is someone who's considered to be a very smart, very successful person. Fucking Steve Jobs had treatable cancer, and fucking refused to go under the knife and have it treated. He wanted to go the natural route, and he died well before his time. Someone who is responsible for Apple. It created the iPhone. People consider him to be smart, successful guy, and here he fell for this same bullshit.
Wozniak was the genius. He was just,
well, Steve Jobs was not the technical genius, but the business mind behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, end to end everything.
Yeah.
I would say I remember being a little girl and watching my adoptive mom. My adoptive mom was diagnosed with rheumatoid. Rheumatoid is a type of arthritis, very, very severe arthritis. It's a sister disease to lupus, which her mom had when she was young. And I remember it got so severe. They were talking about like her ankle swelled up to the point it was like the size of a grapefruit. And they were talking about amputating my mom's leg at one point. They didn't. She fought through it. But I remember before it ever got to that point, in the early stages of her being diagnosed and whatnot, you could see like her fingers starting to like curl over. Like, so you'll see like the hand of somebody with rheumatoid and they'll start to like curl to the side. She can't even, like today, she's 75. She can't really make a fist. And so like her kind of regular stance for her hand is about like this. Kind of like her hand looks regularly. So it's a very severe form of arthritis. And they typically treat it with cancer meds. But in the very, very early days, when I was a very little girl, probably like 9-10 years old, I remember she was buying some shit called noni juice by the truckload. It was just coming in the house. Like she was just stacking it in the hallway, stacking it in the foyer, stacking it in the computer room and whatnot. I wasn't allowed to drink it. And I'm not even sure what was in it. And I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what is it? And I would ask my dad and he wouldn't talk to me about it. But I think it just made her feel better. Like, because when you're in so, not even just when you're in that much pain at that point, because this was post-diagnosis for her. But you'll see people who are really left-wing doing a lot. Like I remember I said to somebody, I was like, you got bitches like taking 15 vitamins a day, but won't wear a mask during COVID. Like
I know somebody like that.
Like it's the whole, it's literally all these sort of anti-vaccine health influencers now. It's like, oh, I'm not injecting anything in my body, and then they come back the next week and they put like all sorts of shit to like get rid of the wrinkles in their face. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's
or just go to Burning Man and do ketamine all weekend, and then they're like, oh, I don't put toxins in my body.
Like it's all just bullshit.
But you know what it is though? It's a fear of their own mortality. We as humans have struggled with that since the beginning of time. It's a fear of your own mortality. And it's also a desire for control. Because I remember watching my dad like struggle with cancer, because throughout that time, like as soon as my mom, like they didn't amputate her leg, but she still had to have the surgery. She had to go through 4 months of being laid up. Then when she got up, she had to go through, physical therapy. And as soon as she was back on her feet, boom, dad diagnosed with cancer. And so he did not go the holistic route like she did at first. And I think that it's really a desire for control is what it was with my mom. A desire for control, to have some kind of perception of at least I am contributing to my own wellness. And then And I will give the anti-vaxxer community this, as I always have, because like I've said before, it's okay to question. I've written articles about it. I am not going to not give them this. Vaccine hesitancy is okay because we have not been perfect about it as a country. When you talk about, the Tuskegee trials and whatnot with syphilis, Barack Obama during his presidency had to apologize to the nation of Guatemala for what we did to their prisoners by essentially trying to doing the same thing we did to the Tuskegee in the Tuskegee syphilis trials with their prisoners in Guatemala, where essentially we sent down American scientists and American doctors and whatnot to use their prisoners as a test population. Back in, I believe it was the 50s or 60s, use them as a test population by trying to inoculate them with syphilis. We couldn't, because syphilis can't be, cultured that way. But we did everything from hire sex workers and whatnot to go into the prisons and whatnot to test how it would impact the human body. And that ended up being the basis of the laws we have today, that and Tuskegee trials. That ended up being the basis of how we have these laws today on human subjects in research trials. So everything we have now today is all trial by fire. So I understand the hesitancy that people have with the medical community, especially when we're talking about marginalized groups, especially when we're talking about Black people. To this very day, Supreme Court decision Buck versus Bell, I work with incarcerated women, terrified to go and see the doctor and whatnot, because not only does it increase your risk of being sexually assaulted, but Buck versus Bella is still on the books and whatnot. And you can still, I think up to 2003, it was happening. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2003, up to 2003, it was still legal on the books for incarcerated women to be sterilized in the United States. And it wasn't until, I believe, 2015 that the U.S. Senate had to come to an agreement about compensating those women. And so I understand the hesitancy. I truly understand. But there has to be, like I said, truth and reconciliation. And there has to be a meeting of the minds on both sides to come together and acknowledge those wrongs, as Barack did, issued an apology to the nation of Guatemala and whatnot, and acknowledged what happened so that healing can happen and so that our public health infrastructure can be better for it, so that our medicinal infrastructure can be better for it.
Yeah, well said. The chat is absolutely smitten by you, and they want to know what else you do. I know. So it's funny. I didn't find out about this, Gabrielle, until after your first appearance. You had an appearance on Good Morning America for your nonprofit work.
I wish it was Good Morning America. It was CBS Morning News, actually. David Begnon's.
Oh, wrong one.
Now, it was CBS Morning News. So yes, I am founder and executive director of my own nonprofit. It's called the Thurman Perry Foundation, named in memory of my dearly departed daddy. Our mission, as it has always been, the last 4 years we've been doing this, is to serve women and girls impacted by incarceration. I myself am a formerly incarcerated woman. And so we provide healthcare resources, public health resources. We also provide scholarships. In fact, tonight at 11:59 p.m., because I know some of the gals in the chat probably wondering what I'm doing, tonight at 11:59 p.m., our annual scholarship cycle is going to close. I am giving out $10,000 scholarships each for every single winner of the Perry Second Chances Scholarship. It is open to, this year anyway, formerly incarcerated women and the daughters of anyone who has ever been incarcerated. Most money we've ever given out in any given cycle. We are up to $100,000 given in the last 4 cycles. And so I'm very, very, very humbled by all this. I also run the only organization in the US that donates organic menstrual products to incarcerated women. So we are currently, I think, at 283,000 menstrual products donated. And I work in 5
Bravo.
different facilities in 3 different states. And I do all of this out of my 1-bedroom apartment with 3 different friends. And so we also have our Mother's Day 365 program, where essentially we are paying the rents and mortgages of formerly incarcerated pregnant women and mamas. And so I run that for anybody who wants to apply, any formerly incarcerated mom, pregnant woman who would like to apply. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know that you're every once in a while you're on Ole and Friends. We see you there. Your tweets are fire. Is there anything else you're doing and anything that you want to promote before you before we're done with our general talk and we move on to super chats, because the chat very clearly wants more of you. So anything else you want to plug?
I do have a book coming out. It will be
okay.
Yes. I'm very fond of the people over at Hachette Publishing and Legacy Lit. They've given your girl a book deal to talk about women's incarceration. So my book will be out next year. I have not dropped the pre-order link yet. It's not ready yet, but it will be out next year. It's called Bad Girls. And so I'm talking all about coming from essentially 4 generations of women impacted by incarceration and poverty in this country, and how that impacts our country at large. And so, yeah, it's going to be a page.
That's amazing. That's amazing. There's another question that came in, if you don't mind taking it. It's along the lines of like misinformation and whatnot. This is from Bay Photo. Who asks, what would you say are primary drivers of science skepticism and distrust in modern medicine? Like, is it our broken healthcare system? Is it social media, etc.?
I've definitely given a lot of thought to that. And I will say this. I mean, you got to think about how it started during the pandemic. You're talking about a ton of people at home doing nothing. And how are we all gathering information? We do not move as one as a culture anymore. Long gone are the days of even event television. We don't even have that anymore. There are not times in which everyone is sitting down for the nightly news anymore. We are not absorbing information from the same places anymore. We are not watching the same people. We're not moving as one culture, as one entity anymore, as a country. And so that is why we don't even know which battle to fight and what misinformation to address first. I remember saying on Blue Sky, there was an article about one of the federal judges that stopped one of Trump's nonsensical executive orders. Trump called him a deep state liberal. I said, what the fuck? Like that, to me, that's cult speak. That's cult speak.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. Like the fact that that was used in a real headline in I think it was Newsweek. I forget what it was, but the fact that cult speak, that's what it is. Cult speak is being used as if it's a real thing, is so ubiquitous now that this is being now used in our mainstream media. I told my best friend, I should not know, as a Black woman in the South, I live in a town of 10,000 people. I should not know who anybody named Nick Fuentes is. Like, I shouldn't know who that is.
To be fair, no one should.
I should not have any concept of who that is. I should not know who that person is. Joe Rogan should have probably just drank himself to death after a long career of convincing people to essentially eat bull dicks for the price of a brand new Chevy Tahoe on fucking television for 20 years. Like, there's no reason that he should have pivoted that into what he is today. And it's because there was a gap. During the pandemic, there was a gap in how we as a country, as a nation, and culturally were consuming information. And it gave rise to all these different factions. When everybody went home for the lockdown, everybody went to their own separate corners, essentially. Picture a mom and dad, two 2-parent, 2-child household. Dad's getting his fucking information from Breitbart. Mom's probably watching Rachel Maddow or some shit like that. Okay, daughter's probably, you know, on YouTube and whatnot, you know, looking at Bailey Sarian and whatnot, whatever, doing makeup and talking about like Chris Watts and all this other kind of shit. Son is over here listening to Andrew Tate. Everybody is consuming current events, pop culture, all of it in different ways. And that is why the fraction is happening. And that is why misinformation is happening. And that's why we can't connect.
Because that's a great point.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Everything is, you know, thanks to the internet, everything is so niche and fractured. Like you could basically get 4 completely different versions of the same exact event. And I mean, not all of it's true, yet you'll have 4 different people saying 4 different things happened at the exact same thing when only 1 or 2 or 1.5 of those things are true. It's a real problem. And a lot of it has to do with media literacy, just being complete shit. The degradation of the idea that there are people who actually are experts in certain things, and not everybody is an expert in everything. There are people with, you know, specialties and special experiences or education that gives them an upper hand in talking about a certain topic. That's all out the window now. You see that scoffed at, like, oh, you're listening to the experts. I mean, yeah, you should question the experts so you could understand, because sure, the experts are human and even they can make a mistake. But in terms of like the big picture, no, they're generally going to be right because they have the knowledge that you don't have.
I also think that like corporations are kind of complicit in all that too, because at the end of the day, Spotify is the world's largest streaming platform. What Joe Rogan says to like 13 to 15 million people does have a legitimate, like, you know, potential negative effect on a lot of, you know, especially younger listeners who are trying to listen to like some meathead tell them, hey, by the way, if you're healthy, you don't need to be vaccinated. That is a direct cost that a company is passing on to its audience, to the general public. Absolutely. That it's not going to have to worry about. And then like that they say they're not mainstream media. That is as mainstream media as it gets. This is the world's largest streaming platform with the world's biggest, now second biggest, but podcast, telling people dangerously unscientific information.
Absolutely. And
well, an issue with that is that these platforms view themselves as strictly tech companies and not media companies with a responsibility. Like, I'm not saying that, like, you know, the big cable news stations, because, you know, there's Fox News, but even like CNN or MSNBC, or even like the big like affiliate companies like the network television stations, ABC, CBS. You know, I'm not saying that they're all like, you know, perfect, but at the very least, a threat of a lawsuit can change their business or their industry. So that keeps them upholding certain responsibilities. Whereas these platforms are able to, in the eyes of the law, get away with not having to have a responsibility for this stuff because they're just a tech company. They're just a platform. They're not the ones responsible for what's being shared or spread or platformed or published on these services.
I think somebody said on Blue Sky, you know, essentially find your favorite person with a Substack and go for it. We're lacking, and I do have a Substack. Follow me, Bad Girls by Monthly.
I was going to ask you. I'll link to that, by the way, in the chat for the VOD, for those wonder. I'll get all the links in there. I just have your Twitter right now, but yeah, we'll link the Substack and all that stuff. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gabrielle.
I was just going to say, I mean, I even caution with that sometimes, though, because what has really taken off, and I'll pick on the left for a little while, what has really taken off, and I've said this, and I think it was Amani Barbarin. A lot of people follow her. She's a disability activist on TikTok. She said this too, and I could not agree fast enough. I was reposting, liking, whatever. The memification on the left is, I feel like, congruent to the misinformation on the right. I'm not going to say equivalent, but it has contributed so much to the downplaying of what it is we are all experiencing right now. Making memes of Trump is what got us here, because it has contributed to the buffoonery of his image. And so what has now been, and to this day, what has now been sparked as incompetence is, or what was initially conceived to be incompetence, people refuse to look further than the surface level because he's been memed so much that all you see of him is incompetence. Therefore, you are not taking time to digest what it is you are reading about him, or you're ignoring him entirely. And that's on both sides of the aisle. And so social media is really to blame for that. On the left, a little bit more than the right. And I tell people all the time, I, especially as a Black woman, do not have the luxury of not taking this man at face value. He may be an idiot, but his team isn't. And so to memify him is to downplay not only what he is doing, but the suffering upon who he is inflicting all this upon. And we are all responsible for that. We're all complicit in that.
Yeah, no, that I never thought about that. That's a great point. There's another question.
We're about to go make fun of Trump, stupid Trump right after this.
Not anymore. No.
I mean, but it is like, you know, a thing where you know, I guess you have to, and I think we do a fairly good job of it, but like there's a fine line to walk. Because there is things that, you know, you can't help but look at and sort of be like, I can't believe you can't help but, you know, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry.
I mean, absolutely. Now, I'm not Matt Bender. Don't try to make it seem like I'm not fun.
Oh, she's not the meme police. You got to look at her Twitter and her Blue Sky.
No, I'm not saying like, I'm just saying in general, like, I think that's sort of where it comes from for most people. Like, you know, it's just like a coping mechanism for a lot of people.
And I told them on Blue Sky, I said, because somebody was talking to me, they were talking to me about Elon Musk and all that and the third. They were talking about that new baby and all this and that, and with who is Ashley, whoever. And I just like, it was a whole big discussion on Blue Sky. I feel like Blue Sky has like a whole different culture than Twitter. I feel like I'm part of like the in crowd over there now. But I just feel like, you know, I'm tired of hearing about, you know, his dick broke and his daddy didn't love him and he ugly and so he feels self-conscious and all this.
Oh, you're talking about what liberals say about Trump. Okay, that's not real. I was taking it the wrong way. Like, leftists don't talk about like, oh, he's Putin's puppet and things like that. That's a very liberal. That's like the libs. That's the libs doing that.
Speaking of that, I saw that there was like
we laugh at him saying "to" instead of the word "to."
Because we're kids.
You're talking about the libs.
No, but Binder, I felt that with that video. There was like an AI video of I think Trump like licking Elon Musk's feet or something like that, and it got played in the White House. And I was like,
that's lib. That's
how does this defeat him? How does this get people to acknowledge that this is like rising fascism? Like how does this stop any of this? Do you want the win of being like, lol, look, they're gay or something like that? I was like, this is so childish. Like it's not actually effectively going to improve anyone's lives. And everyone is like, this is fucking epic. And I was like, that's so
and it's also AI. I hate anything AI slop. Yeah. Having said that, though, if I have to call Trump the F slur to get like him to back down on something, I'll do it. I'll do it if I need to. But no, yeah. I don't pull out that card unless I absolutely have to. There's another question that somebody had asked Gabrielle if you wanted to answer. This one is actually really interesting. So this is from Tiger. Tiger asks, with the CDC blackout, are there any symptoms we should be on the lookout for in ourselves, our family, or our approximate communities?
Y'all trying to like The Last of Us. Like, if that bitch start coughing, do I need to get the
We got a lot of hypochondriacs in the chat, so...
When do we I don't know if you guys remember that Walking Dead episode, when do we take the girl out to look at the flowers while we clap the gun behind her head When do we start putting people out of their misery?
Oh God!
Right now.
But no, Matt Bender,
I'm ready to be put out.
When I'm at the airport, it's where it's officially a cough Olympics oh my God.
Oh, I know.
And so
in the store, I've heard people coughing this last time I went. It was making me so paranoid. I could not handle it. Oh God.
I will say, just be on the lookout for, you know your body. I always tell people this, you know your body. There's no reason to have any kind of like paranoia about it. Plus, a lot of these diseases are a bit asymptomatic, baby. So it's good. One, have you some tests on hand. You can still get COVID tests at the store. Like, stock up on those if you like. There is a bit of a concern that they may not be up to date in terms of the current strains because, mutations happen, quicker than we can keep up with. But hey, I will say though, I did tell somebody, because somebody asked me, like, what are the symptoms of bird flu? I was like, brother, like, listen, if you're shitting up your back and vomiting at the same time, I'm pretty sure you're going to know. But
something might be wrong.
Something might be wrong. If your eyes start, like, you got pink eye, probably, talk to somebody. But at the end of the day, like, your body, when you feel, and again, I am not a clinician. This is not clinical advice. I am not a doctor. But I said, your body, you know what I mean? And at any given time, if you feel like something's wrong, like, go and speak to your provider, because I'm not one of those people. I really feel like the right has positioned this as to where, particularly RFK Jr. and particularly our Surgeon General down here, where they are literally writing permission slips for doctors to not have to fulfill their vaccination requirements while working in the hospitals. It's sick. It's absolutely sick.
That's insane.
And so it's sick. And so I tell people all the time, public health and medicine work together. They are not opposed to one another. They're just different. One is preventative, it's focused on prevention, as opposed to one is focusing on your symptomology. Now you have it. Okay, what can we do? And so, but neither one of them are guaranteed cures. And that is where the right is trying to stick its anchor in. Well, it's not a guarantee, so we should just fucking get rid of it. Nothing is a guarantee. Nothing is a guarantee. Absolutely nothing. Chemo is not a guarantee if you get cancer. Tylenol is not a guarantee if you get a headache, brother. Nothing is a guarantee. Nothing you do is a guarantee. Nothing. Any pill you take, nothing is a guarantee. It all is a series of a process called science that a fuckload of people smarter than you put together to at least take an educated guess at saving your fucking life.
Well said. Before we get to super chats, is there anything left that you want to add with regard to this subject, or anything else that you want to plug in particular? I know you got the Substack, you're on social media. Just anything else you want to leave us with before we transition into questions and answers? I
would say absolutely, y'all. It's tempting to be struck by fear. It really is. It's tempting to dwell in that. I know I was for a while, just struck by the fear, gripped by it, because we've never lived through anything like this, not in our lifetime. Like, we've been coasting for a while on rights that a lot of people have fought for, and we're not in those times no more. But being gripped by the fear, you can feel the fear, but being gripped by it, being paralyzed by it, doesn't do anything. It's not conducive to you. It's not conducive to your health. And so hold fast your peace, as the old Black folks say, and be aware of what's happening. But the best thing you can do for yourself, for your family, for your community is arm yourself with as much information as possible. If you know what's going on, not necessarily what's going on, but if you know how to aid yourself, if you know how to discern fact from fiction, if you know, hey, what my adult and child vaccine schedule needs to be and whatnot, it will start to mitigate the fear that you are feeling. Arm yourself with information. And God bless.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking so much time to talk to us and just let us basically pick your brain for over an hour. This has been really informative. The chat has been very, very fascinating as well. You're like one of our favorite guests. She was on before. There's another episode you guys can check out as well. It's also very very interesting. Yeah, we'll get to super chats. Gabrielle, you do not have to stay for this. You're free to bounce whenever, or you're free to stay. It's up to you. But yeah.
What is that?
So we just read
super
all
chats.
of the...
It's we answer audience questions, essentially. People who like donate to the show. It helps fund the series, and then we answer their questions. Sometimes they're silly, sometimes they're serious.
I feel like
it depends.
I feel like I've given enough estrogen to this whole thing. Y'all need some boy time.
No, I appreciate it.
That's fair. Yeah. Thank you so much again. We got to bring you back at another time.
Yes,
I'm sure that we're gonna have more questions as the as time goes on. So again, thank you so much. Cannot appreciate this enough. This was amazing.
I mean, I have to imagine you'll be back fairly soon with how measles and bird flu are going.
I mean, listen, when it all starts, going the Pedro Pascal route, y'all call me. I'll bring the popcorn. It'll be chill. See y'all.
Take care, Gabrielle.
Hi, Gabrielle.
Okay. Lance, did you want to go first?
Yeah, I only got 4. I could read through them pretty quick. Chris, thank you so much. A poem called Lester Evil. You can't teach a lesson. You won't even try. You'll give your vote for free with the same reason why. Thank you very much for that.
Beautiful.
To Jazwi Raghu Rama with the 250 rupees. Nothing against Mike bringing guests, but I miss the vibes and discussion you all had when it was just the Mafia. Why can't Mike do these interviews on his own channel? Why take space away from the group banter? I don't think you could have a worse episode to drop that comment.
I know.
Every single chat is like, that was unbelievable. Thank you so much. Oh my God, best guest ever. But thank you very much for the dono. AK with the incredibly generous 50. Thank you so much. And I noticed AK was donating to everyone's chat, so thank you for funding the Leftist Mafia. Personally, I enjoyed Gabrielle. The normal banter is great, but I found this very informative. I think the whole point was that this information is not commonly shared, and many won't research it on their own. Great job, Leftist Mafia. I totally agree, Mike. Thanks again for bringing on Gabrielle, and thanks again to Gabrielle for coming on.
And
that was
if I might, I'll address that person real quick. Fuck you. Okay.
No.
So Matt, did you? No, I'm just kidding. No. I don't like doing. I don't like doing interviews on my channel.
Anything by it.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't like doing one-on-one interviews. I think that interviews are so much better when it's like a panel discussion, so that the way there's banter and whatnot, and people can talk. It's much less informal, which I prefer. I just think that it is it's fun. I genuinely like guests, but I also like our original, crew as well, and the vibes there. So we just go back and forth. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's not like,
and I mean,
it'll never be.
I brought on lots
just
of guests
us
as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, there was a lot of Leftist Mafia people missing today, so it was actually really nice to have the estrogen dose that Gabrielle said she was bringing, because otherwise,
exactly.
the 3 of us.
We needed an extra person on this show because I needed to just listen to what she had to say for that first part of her talk, because I think I used all my energy during the Epstein final segment. I was just like off.
And we have some validation from the chat as well. Thank you so much, Lonzo. The chat really loves Yeah, no, seriously, like her tweets are so fucking fire as well. You have to follow her.
By the way, I saw people asking where everyone was. I don't think so we should let you know that.
This is going to be a hard conversation.
We kicked the rest of you guys off the crew. They're just gone.
Yeah, people have had too much doom news tonight.
They're just gone. We were like,
it's different
Rebecca,
for each person.
Yeah.
David Dole is starting to go on more of a right-wing shift. I think you've all noticed it for a while now.
In fact, he heard who we were having on, and he refused to even come anywhere near someone who advocates for vaccines. So, he just wouldn't even be part of it.
Yeah, Ariana has been...
she's a Zionist now. She's she was I don't even know what to say.
She's working on a Hassan Piker content nuke.
Thank
with
you.
Ethan Klein.
There you go.
More,
the second one.
That was actually a little bit more
Yeah.
sanitized than where I was going to go with it. So thank you.
And Rebecca is working on a documentary about how the left are the real Nazis. So there's
right. How DEI ruined everything. Right. Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's why it's half the crew. We're gonna have to rebuild. They're all going right wing. We're here. We're still leftists. So no, they'll be back next week.
Thank you to Annie Fitzgerald for subscribing last week. Apparently I missed it, but with the message to bring on someone to talk from either Washington or somewhere else about universal health care. Thank you to Prairie Fire for the $1.99. We tolerated flat Earth's existence, and here we are. And thank you to Looney Tunes 9000. The payday is yours, Lance. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm not flat Earth. I think the people who believe in it, I guess the biggest difference is that like the most harm they can do is just living in a non-reality. I mean, like, you don't believe in it, fine, but like hopefully you just won't fly in planes because they're technically defying your own worldview. But like someone who's actively, like Joe Rogan, telling people not to get vaccinated has, you know, a percentage of his audience is not going to do that then, and then they're going to get sick and they could possibly get very hurt from doing that. So that's where I think it's very insidious and irresponsible for Spotify or any, you know, major media distributor, tech company to allow that without any kind of oversight. And also thank you to Sweetheart Cat for resubscribing, Techting for resubscribing, Tyrannical Rex for resubscribing. Take it away, Mike or Matt.
Okay, Matt, do you want to go first or do you want me to go?
Doesn't matter. Whatever you want. Why don't you go first? I think I went first last time, so we'll go back and forth every week.
That works. All right. Let me see where I'm at here. Rega98, thank you for the 5. Y'all should add more MSNBC type news drama to your coverage to attract more lips to radicalize. For example, Dave's video on Joy Reid's firing is at 650K right now. No kidding. Yeah,
Whoa,
I think that
what was his
that's actually a great idea. His take was that it was bad that she was fired. It's been a couple of days since I watched it, but he thought that, you know, she's one of the few hosts that have gotten better over the years, and it's primarily because of her stance on Gaza, most likely. It was a really good video, so I would encourage people to watch it. I really like this idea from Rega. I used to cover more MSNBC type stuff and like The View before. I kind of got bored with it, but I do agree that it is an opportunity to try to like radicalize normie Democrats. Right now, they are genuinely pissed off. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I certainly will try to do that more. Thank you to 180K Chan for the 10. These Republicans need to watch out. They anger their gun-carrying base too much by cutting their benefits. Might start a year of Luigi the Nintendo character. Of course, I'm not advocating for violence. Of course, we would never advocate for violence. But yeah. Don't want to anger them. The Anti-Corporatists, thank you for becoming a member. And also thank you to Troy for becoming a member as well. Next, we have Unknown with £2. Thank you so much. I mentioned Ali O'Brien. Their YouTube is Ali202. Let me go ahead real quick so I don't forget and find them and sub to them. Let me see. Okay. Just sub to them. And yeah, thank you for the recommendation. Adam Ilioff, thank you so much for the 10. They don't care if they are taking down Democrats because the second they do, the Democrat sides with the Republicans, and then MAGA goes, oh, look, they have secretly been one of us all along. Yeah, that's true, referring to the Epstein stuff. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you're outed as a terrible person, like Eric Adams, you just say, well, I'm a Trump supporter. This is weaponization like they did to Trump. It's not just like Eric Adams, it's also Russell Brand, and there's others. Like if you're in shit, just go full MAGA. Smokey Rose, thank you for the 2. It's a demographic that wants to lower the age of consent. Yeah, precisely. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Miss Contreras. This is a pair flying with a cape. Love that.
I
and
wish
then
they
we
would show the
have-
super stickers in StreamYard.
I know. You can't see it. It sucks. I have to describe it. No message, but thank you for the $2, Redfire. Shadow, thank you for the 5. Student employees at my university who work at the National Weather Center on campus just got laid off. That's sad. That's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that. Unknown, thank you for the £5. There's a UK group called Everyone Hates Elon that put a poster up in London labeled swastika. I think I saw that. I think you'd like the
Yeah.
poster. Can't send link. I saw that on Reddit actually. I did like it. Thank you for sharing that. Others should check that out. Bayphoto, thank you for being a member for 9 months. And also Bayphoto says, speaking of the flu vaccine, the FDA canceled the March meeting where they're supposed to determine the vaccine formula for next fall. Yeah, that's what Gabrielle brought up. Yeah, it's not good. Thank you for the 5, by the way. We have a question for Gabrielle from Unknown, £2. Gabrielle, do we need to panic internationally? So I think that we need to panic in the US. I didn't get the sense that internationally we need to panic. That would be my guess after listening to Gabrielle, but I won't put words in her mouth. I'm certainly panicking as a US citizen. Corey James, thank you for becoming a member. Kenzie Page, also thank you for being a member for 20 months. Nadia, so this was addressed by Gabrielle. Thank you for the 5. November DeMarc, thank you for the 5. GOP getting themselves intubated in the ICU to own the libs. Yeah, that was a crazy ass time. I'm still not over the COVID pandemic. I mean, the pandemic is still literally a thing, but like I'm not over the craziness mentally. It's still insane. It's insane that we're coming up on 5 years in March. I still have not processed 2020. So yeah. Unknown, thank you for the £2. Probably a good idea to stock up on masks. I think it's always a good idea to stock up on masks, for sure. Let's see here. Pendulous, thank you for being a member for 16 months. And Kowalski, thank you for the $1.99. I work livestock. I can smell RFK Jr.'s bull. Yeah, absolutely. Nick O'Brien, thank you for the 5.
I don't know why, but when you read that, I heard bulge. I was like, what?
Well, oh, God. That gave me the worst visual. Oh,
I didn't ask you to visualize it.
It just popped into my head. It's like an intrusive
that's
thought.
on your that's on yourself.
I hate that. Nikki O'Brien, thank you for the 5. Love y'all. Thank you, Gabrielle. Hugs and hopium from a tiny blue dot in Arkansas. Sigh. Hang in there, Nikki. That's that's not easy. Mang Tang, thank you for the 20. This was a question that Gabrielle addressed. Yeah, appreciate that. Foresto, thank you for... Oh, no. Wrong Foresto. There's a different Foresto from me. Where's Foresto? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Bay photos and confusing you two. So this was one that Gabrielle had addressed. Thank you, Bay Photo, for the 10. And then also this was addressed by Gabrielle as well. Thank you, Tiger, for the 5. Okay, and then we have... Let me see here. Lost my place. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, there we go. Chris, thank you for the 5. Adding to that, you're also going to get validation for any idea from hundreds of people, maybe thousands if you look for it. Yeah, absolutely. Bitey Face, thank you for the 20 Canadian, very generous. The Nazis eschewed Jewish physics, MAGA eschews woke medicine. Yeah, lots of parallels. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, as the saying goes. Cosmere Dragon, thank you for the generous $20. I find it sus that the emphasis on vaccine criticism has focused on vaccines cause autism. When I was younger, the claim was that vaccines cause autoimmune disorders such as MS or diabetes. Nobody makes that argument now. Yeah, I think they just kind of pivot to whatever they think will be the most convincing. And since ableism is all the rage right now, that's probably why they're doing it. You know, we see how right-wingers on Twitter are boasting about how they can say the R slur again. Slurs are coming back as well. But yeah, it's just a matter of like how to get the most people to believe them. It's fucked up. It's genuinely messed up. Sam, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Appreciate that, Sam. AK, thank you for the $50. Incredibly kind super chat. Really appreciate that. Love you, Mike. I also really enjoyed Gabrielle. Such an informative guest. Thanks for another great episode of Leftist Mafia. Well, thank you so much. Love you too. Genuinely appreciate that. Really, really do. Kowalski, thank you for the $2. Get your haircuts now for going into a pandemic. Lucky for me, I cut my own hair to the best of my ability. Not always the best haircut, but it's done in house. So
lucky for me, I don't cut my hair. So I've
there you go.
I outdid you, Mike. Lance,
Yeah,
I think
hey.
this one's for you. I think this one's for you.
Yeah.
You get a nice barber. He takes care of you good. They look like
Lance has a
you may
very
even
good
go to
barber.
You may even go to a salon. That's how nice and sparkly that hair is.
You know what's so nice? Well, first off, thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments. I used to go to one that was like a little further away, but like I decided, hey, I'm going to roll the dice and go local. And so I live in Chinatown in Vancouver, and I went to a local barber, and it was excellent and very, very affordable. So shout outs
nice.
to your local barbers. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So you better go get that haircut. Otherwise, if he forgets or just time runs out and we gotta stay indoors, we might end up seeing Lance holding up a sign a few months into the pandemic. Open up! I need a haircut. You remember those guys? It was the saddest thing in the world. I'm sorry. It was the absolute saddest thing. The people who were holding up the sign saying, "I need a haircut now."
I mean, if need be, it's not very like most men. I feel like maybe they have like an electric shaver. You can just shave your head if need be. It'll grow back. It's not that big of a deal.
It is one of the things I wish I knew how to do on my own, because I'm not someone who likes just like sitting there making small talk. I'm not a good small talk person.
Yeah,
I mean,
see, I feel like I'm good at small talk, but I still don't like it.
It's easy just to shave your head, though. It's really hard to like give yourself a hairdo like that.
True.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a specific hairdo. I always just like put cream in it, and then I like go like this, and then it's over. I don't have like a. Maybe I should get a barber. I don't know.
Put cream in it? You mean gel?
It's like a fucking I don't know. I'm blanking on the name of
wax?
it. It's a wax, yeah, not a cream. It's not wax per se. It's more creamy. It's like it's an Old Spice brand.
Hey, just say you beat off in your hair, all right? We get it. You beat off in your hair.
Something about Mary.
All right.
Yeah,
that's why it's so shiny.
I know this reference.
Yeah.
Trying to be
I'm just
all
winging it. I'm winging it. The beard is my real beauty. That's what I really focus on. I got some good beard oil, the best brand. Trim it. That's where I focus. My hair on my head, not so much.
I gotta say, I know your beard is not that long, but is that like your headphones? Because the way there's like that little like white thing on the bottom of that, it looks like you had like tied your beard into a knot and it was like this long. You know what I'm talking about? Like you're like a beard braid.
Yeah. Yeah. I can do a Viking braid like from here down, and it actually looks it looks cool, but it is a little bit creepy looking. Like I wouldn't rock that in public. But I have done it before. It's long enough to do a braid. I feel like it's appropriating Viking culture, and I think that's immoral. I can't do it. Okay, Nicky O'Brien. Thank you for the $5. I have good safety protocols, but also drink. Does alcohol kill the flu? I don't think so, unfortunately. Don't think so. Rolando, thank you for the $2. Brave Little Toaster is now Deputy FBI Director. Yeah, the Deputy FBI Director has me blocked on Twitter because I compared his head to the Brave Little Toaster in a Nintendo GameCube. So,
wait, who?
Dan Bongino.
Oh, Dan Bongino. See, when I think of Dan Bongino, I can only think of the Nick Lutzko song.
Oh, it gets stuck in my head for days. Don't do it.
Yeah. I want to be in the RNC. I want to be Dan Bongino.
Tigwick, my God, $100 Canadian super chat. That is so kind. Lovely guest and interview, Mike and Mafia team. Thank you so much. I also love your tourist avatar. That's a very pretty game. So yeah, thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. I'm glad that you all enjoyed the guest so much. She was a great guest before, and I've been wanting to bring her on again for a long time. And yeah, happy that she agreed to come back on. Let's see here. The next one is going to be
people are being generous tonight. Maybe David, Rebecca, and Ariana should miss more episodes.
Lizzie, thank you for the 5. Mike's outro with Luigi and the Leftist Mafia theme song are such bangers. Any chance of having a separate vid of them or tracks on Spotify? Well, so I uploaded every single outro and the old Leftist Mafia theme to my second channel. It's like 45 minutes long. The Luigi theme is new, so I don't have that outro in that. And the new Leftist Mafia theme is also new, so that's not there as well. I think that maybe if we get like enough new outros, I can add it. But yeah, that's all.
You know who we have to reach out to? I forgot who did it, but did you guys see 2 Majority Report listeners put together a intro video for the Thursday Fun Half with me, Emma, and Brandon Sutton, and it is incredible. You guys have to check out this video. They played it on the Majority Report. I think they debuted it last week, and they played it this week again. It is incredible. It's really good. It's like insanely good. I can't Mike, you do a great job. I'm not knocking your work, but this video
I
is
see
insane.
We're comparing.
The
and Lance actually did the last one too, so you're insulting both.
It's okay. I was going to say silent. I was going to say silent.
You guys, people are asking.
Can we play it?
Yeah, play it.
Play it
up. It's insane. Okay. How good?
Do you have the link to it?
Yeah, it's just the last. Hold on, let me. I'll drop it in the.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
It is insanity. I have to find out who did it.
I lost my place. Let me see. Here we go.
You're gonna have to find the. Let me see if I can find the. It should be around. Like an hour 25 and 30 seconds, or no, closer to an hour and 26 minutes. Like it's not just it's a combination of the song and the video. It's insane. I couldn't believe someone put that together.
125.
No, go back. No, you're going the wrong direction.
This?
Oh, no. A little bit more right there. You can see it, but go to the beginning.
There's some Pac-Man.
Go. Keep going. Oh, you can start right about. Right. Start right there. That should be fine.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah.
Okay, Emma, please.
Well, I feel that my voice is sorely lacking on the Majority Report.
Wait, look, Sam is unpopular.
I do deserve a vacation at Disney World. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome Emma to the show.
It is Thursday.
I think you need to take over for Sam.
Yes, please. No. I'm gonna pause you right there. Wait, what? You can't encourage Emma to live like this. And I'll tell you why. She was offered to work, sushi, and poker with the boys. Work, sushi, and poker with the boys. She was offered to work, sushi, and poker with the boys. Work, sushi, and poker.
Tim's upset.
Work, sushi, and poker with the boys. She was offered to work, sushi, and that's what we call the biz. Work, sushi, and poker with the boys.
Right.
Work, sushi, and poker.
We're gonna get demonetized.
I just think that what you did to Tim Pool was mean.
Free speech.
That's not what we're about here. Look at how sad he's become now. You shouldn't even talk about it. I think you're responsible.
I probably am in a certain way, but let's get to the meltdown here.
Sushi and poker with the boys.
Oh my God.
Wow. Sushi. I'm sorry, I'm losing my fucking mind. She was offered to work. Sushi and poker with the boys.
Logic.
Sushi and poker with the boys. I think I'm like a little kid. I think I'm like a little kid. I think I'm like a kid. I think I'm like a little kid. I think I'm like a little kid.
Had this debate 7,000 times.
A little kid. I think I'm like a little kid. I think I'm like a kid.
I'm losing my fucking mind.
Some people just don't understand.
So I'm not trying to be a dick right now, but like, I absolutely think the U.S. should be providing me with a life. And it's...
That's not what we're talking about here. Okay, all right.
It's not a fun job. Work?
That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Real thing. Willy Wonka's work? That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Real thing. What's that offered work? That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Real thing. What's that work? A real thing. That's a real thing. Real thing. What's that offered work?
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Rogan has done it again.
That offered work? That's a real thing. That's a poker with the boy. I think he might be blowing it out of proportion. Real thing. That's a poker with the boys. That offered work? That's a real thing. That's a poker. Let's go, Joe. Sushi and poker with the boys. Take it easy there. Work. Sushi and poker.
Things have really gotten out of hand.
Sushi and poker with the boys. Delusional.
Work. Deluded.
Sushi.
You don't have a clue as to what's going on. Live YouTube.
Sam has like the weight of the world on his shoulders. Sam doesn't want to do this show anymore. It was so much easier when the Majority Report was just you. You were happy.
Let's change the subject.
Rangers and Knicks are doing great.
Now shut up. You don't want people saying reckless things on your program.
That's one of the most difficult parts about this show.
This is the pro-killing podcast.
I'm thinking maybe it's time we bury the hatchet.
Left is best. Trump Violet.
Work.
Don't be foolish and don't fucking tweet at me and don't bitch. So Wade has cucked all of these people. Love it.
That's where my heart is, so I wrote my honors thesis about it.
Oh, she wrote an honest thesis. I guess I should hand the main mic to you now.
You are to the right of the foreign policy.
We already fund Israel, dude. Are you against that?
That's a tougher question I have an answer to.
Incredible theme song.
Hi, Bumbler.
Emma Vigeland, absolutely one of my favorite people. Actually, not just in the game, like period.
That was amazing.
That's sweet.
It's crazy. Yeah, I could not believe when I saw that. It's insane.
That's so good.
That's someone put that together.
That was Jonathan that put it together? Is that what
Yeah,
it
I
said?
think that's I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot that they put their name in there.
Shout out to them. That's
People should know.
incredible.
People should know.
Shout
Yes.
bravo.
Yeah.
Incredible work.
Yeah, you know that
So
they worked really
if,
hard on that too.
if you're watching, you want to put one of those together for us.
Okay, I have a couple left here. Chris with 5, thank you so much. Worst news this week, Fable 4 delayed to 2026. Thanks, Obama. I heard about that, yeah. And then we have Joe Quisha. Joe Star, thank you for the 20. Very kind. I don't know what the fuck they were on, but I truly appreciated her contribution to the show. She walks it like she talk it, actually putting in the work and inspirational. It was informative and uplifting. Remember, don't buy shit tomorrow. Right. Yeah, tomorrow is supposed to be the boycott. I don't know if it's just like of specific companies, but I forgot about that. Yeah, thank you for reminding
In
us.
Canada, we're doing a no American companies boycott. It's something that's happening.
I heard that like
and also
85% of Canadians aren't buying American. That's fucking amazing.
yeah, that's wild. I mean, they're
Here's
buying a lot of
something-
products from Mexico.
Here's something you could do if you're an
Love it.
Amazon Prime subscriber. Use your Twitch Prime subscription. Make sure you use it. Don't have to give it to us even. It's not using this to grift. But use it
I don't
because
believe
you
that.
get a free you get an opportunity to tell Amazon to give a couple of bucks to your favorite creator without costing you anything extra, which means it's coming out of their pocket. Really, it's coming out of like what you already pay them. But if you're already paying them for Amazon Prime, and I get it, I'm not telling people to cut their subscription if they need Amazon Prime so they can get their deliveries. But you might as well make sure they take a little bit less of your money and they have to give it to your favorite Twitch creator. Just give it to somebody, please.
Yeah, and don't buy shit tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder of that. Okay, so the next one here is Chris Corcoran. Thank you for the 5. RFK Jr. voice. The measles are back in town. The measles are back in town. That's the best that I could do, unfortunately. If you want better,
That was
you'll
pretty
have
good,
to go
actually.
and listen to Zach at the Vanguard. Zach at the Vanguard has
pretty
the
good.
best. Thank you. I never worked on it, so it was just, straight from the hip. Lizzie, thank you for the 5. Don't know if any of y'all are aware of Al Sharpton's boycott plan. Don't buy anything tomorrow. If you have to spend money, do so with local businesses. Yeah, so I'm glad that you all are reminding me of this because I heard of that. I wasn't sure what the actual day was. Not that I was planning on buying anything, but really, really glad that you are letting people know about that. Don't buy anything tomorrow for sure. Good plan. We have economic power, and it's time that we flex. Dr. Hotel Mario, thank you for the 2.
Or if you
Where's
do
Florida
buy
Man in our time of
Canadian,
need?
maybe we should be doing. Maybe we should be. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
mean to
buy
talk
more
over
Canadian
you.
products.
Maybe we should be buying Canadian if we have to buy tomorrow.
Fuck yeah!
Like if you
just
you
don't
gotta
buy
get
it from
your
a big chain. Yeah, don't buy it from a big chain.
Right. Well, I was gonna say if you gotta get your breakfast in the morning, maybe stop by Tim Hortons instead of Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
I don't think
Canada,
you can
I'd
get a
love Canada. They're
Canadian
crushing
breakfast
it
here
again.
in America like that. Like I don't think there's a unless you go to a big
fact
chain.
that
Here's a breakfast poutine.
Yeah, the fact that the Liberals are surging in the polls, God, Canada is just. I love Canada.
I mean, we got some bad news in Canada. Just as of an hour ago, Doug Ford has won another majority, unfortunately, in
Are you
Ontario.
serious? Fucking
which,
A, Canada. I hate Canada.
I know.
I hate Ontario.
I'm very sad to say that.
Hasn't he been? I know
That's
nothing.
so
but
sad.
Hasn't he been pretty outspoken about the Trump
I'll be
administration?
right back.
On a leaked mic, he actually revealed that he was happy that Trump won, and you thought that would cause some controversy, but it didn't cause enough controversy. On another old leak video that got leaked, he said he wanted to bring the death penalty to Canada and send. He said, "quote send them to Old Sparky" was what he called it. And
what does that even mean?
Sparky being the electric chair, as in yeah.
That's
but
so
like
lame. I didn't even think of that.
But the shittier thing about it all is that like he effectively weaponizes just making liquor cheaper every single time, and it works. And this time he basically should be held accountable for like gutting a lot of like mental health and public healthcare systems. But then he's just like, you know what? I'm going to once again do a policy that reduces the price of liquor because that's his solution to this. And there's just the bigger problem is there's not an effective alternative to him, and so many people like the voter turnout. I interviewed a candidate before this. I interviewed a TikToker about it before it, and they said that like the turnout for the last one was 44%, as in people just aren't inspired to vote for someone else, and Ford Nation that keeps him in power are very inspired to keep him in power. So it sucks, but it just keeps happening.
I guess that's why David didn't join us.
He hasn't joined us for a while. He's gonna get back on the show.
Where's where did Michael? I don't even know where he is. Oh, here we go.
I had to go to the bathroom. Sorry.
Oh.
Tea. Okay.
Number one or number two?
Number 2, definitely. JJ, thank you for the 20.
Why I thought
Very
that
generous.
was so funny.
Yeah, I was like, why are you losing your shit at that?
I don't know why.
Been watching for a while and on the various channels for a super chat. My egg just cracked 3 days ago and admitted to myself I'm trans. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's really cool.
Amazing.
The timing is terrible, the danger is zero, but the euphoria of self-honesty is so real. Yeah, you are like the level of like liberation you feel when you come out to yourself is unparalleled to anything else. So I'm really happy for you. That's awesome. I have a family member that just came out after the election, and she's also terrified, but at the same time you could tell that she's like jubilant because there's nothing more freeing than just being yourself. So I'm really happy for you. That's awesome. It's never, even though the climate isn't great, it's never a bad time to be your true authentic self. So you should really be happy right now because that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Tiger, thank you so much for the 10. I definitely know how you feel about still processing COVID. With my son and I being at risk of COVID, my entire worldview shifted when the USA collectively decided we don't need to live. It got grim. Yeah, it's going to be like, I feel like we've all been collectively traumatized from COVID. And on top of that, I think that it really changed society in an irreversible way almost, to where even though we were growing more antisocial because of social media, I feel like COVID really accelerated that, even in myself. I was always a very sociable, extroverted person, but COVID has really made me be like so much more insular into myself, to where just like being around people is much more tiring. Not that it's made me introverted per se, but it just had a real impact on me. So yeah, I feel like we're not going to know about the full effects of COVID, putting aside the death, of course, and the long-term sickness, but just like the mental aspect. We're not going to really understand the full like impact it's had on our mental health collectively for decades to come. It's a lot. Let's see here. The next one is going to be from Lava Girl. Thank you for the 5. Have any of you heard of the RevComs? Thoughts, opinions, interested? I have not heard of the RevComs. I apologize. I'm always out of touch with most things.
They are not good. They're sort of a grifty group of like I would like the left's LaRouche, sort of like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like Caleb Maupin?
Yes, Bob Avakian. That's the guy whose name I'm trying to think of. Thank you, Han Siapu in the Twitch chat. It's they take advantage of various different left-wing protests in real life, and they show up and they have their own signs, and it's like the LaRouche of the left. I wouldn't get involved.
Oh, okay. Thank you to Brosmo for the 5. Shout out from East Oakland. Hey. Shout out to you. All right, almost done here. Joseph Kerr, thank you for the 5. I'm in favor of renaming the show Stub Toe Mafia. I love y'all and know you gotta keep it clean for YouTube, but Mike has the right vibes. Never again. Well, hey, I appreciate you saying that.
Stub toe. I just got that.
There's a lot of people that, I hope they stub their toes real hard. Yeah. That's as far as we go, because we're a clean show now. Chris Corcoran, thank you so much for the $5. If Binder hosts MR again, we need a remix of the Emma song for him, but it's instead short stack thick like a goblin. Binder would love that.
That'd be great, but that's way too niche. Like
that's true.
Like the Tim Pool thing with Emma is like sort of like a memeable thing because it's something that people were able to watch. This is like an inside joke about another lefty YouTuber.
True. Well, that's all that I have. If you want to get to yours, Binder.
Sure, let's do it. Let me pull up my chat. I cannot believe how many super chats there are today. Well, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. Sincerely.
We had a lot of viewers actually as well throughout the entire episode.
The anti-corporatist with a member for 11 months super chat. Thank you so much. Because of his deciding to have everything trans redacted, the Department housing the FAA will henceforth be known as the Department of Portation. This is a pretty good one. That was good. I had to bring it up myself. Did you forget to remove some of these? Because there's a few chats up here, Mike, above it.
Is there? The only one that is above it is a member chat, so I removed them all. So if there's any extras,
oh really?
That's
weird. I see them on my end. That's weird. All right, no problem.
Oh, you do? Oh no, they're not. Yeah. They're not showing up for me.
That's odd. All right.
Did you unstar the Charlotte Ray membership?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Huh? Yeah,
I'm gonna unstart it right now. I still see the David's video about Joy Reid firing up top in my starred section. Weird. I'll remove it. All right, here we go. Chris with a super chat. How old do you think Ivanka was when Trump started crushing on her? Oh my God, that's.
Oh,
I don't want to go there. It's weird enough that he crushes on his daughter. I don't want to go there.
I can't imagine how bad how weird would that be, for their relationship. She has to, well, I mean, I guess she's apparently not.
I mean, she doesn't think it's weird because she has a great relationship with him as far as we know, at least publicly.
That's true.
Chris, aka Cult of Personality Birch, with a super chat. I was going to make fun of Binder, but some shitlib made a video about us Bernie bros being like MAGA. Funny, we call them Blue MAGA. They're insufferable. Wait, we can make fun of Binder? What?
They felt sorry.
That's
after seeing
praxis.
The video from.
What was the
From
video
the
making fun of Bernie Bros? I want to see it now. Kowalski with his super chat. RFK is pro measles. Yes. Sun Bear with this isn't for me. I see all your super chats. Oh wait,
Really?
maybe that was for me.
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
was for
say.
me.
I saw
Shit.
one that I forgot to unstar,
Well,
but
I brought it up on the feed for a second. Sunbear says, because you read the Nadia, the super chat from Nadia to Gabrielle when she was on the show because it was for her, and that was a super chat to me. So I was looking for that one next. I remember.
Oh, okay.
The question that
Okay.
you brought up. All right. Sorry, Sunbear,
I
but I
see.
did show it on the screen for a minute. Suddenly don't feel silly still wearing a mask. KN95 to this day since COVID times. Bernice Anders with a super chat. I'm a reproductive health PhD student, and the vast majority of funding in my field comes from the NIH. Shit's bleak. Much love to Gabriel. She rocks. Yeah, things are looking not good. Greg Wright with a super chat. Republicans excel at having the worst possible takes on just about every single issue. Yeah, it seems like they do.
Yep.
Sunbear with another super chat. Wow, Gabrielle A. Perry is an amazing guest. She was very good. She was great. Foresto with a super chat. Refusing to acknowledge reality is the only agency you have when reality is scary. The fear is stronger than the reality for a lot of people. I mean, yeah, absolutely. But it's also sort of not good either. Guamu with a super chat. $50 Mexican pesos. So that's apparently like what? It's like $5 or something, right? Something like that. It's 25 cents. Glad Grifter David has been kicked off.
I like how you take the dono, then insult their currency.
No, I love Mexican pesos. They're great. Please send me all of your pesos. Glad Grifter David has been kicked off along with his problematic audience. Well, his audience is still here. Hopefully. No, David Dole will be back. It has been a week since he's been on, hasn't it?
It has been a minute.
Wow. Maybe he's
I get also just having burnout by the time Thursday rolls around, just the state of the world being what it is when you do this for a living. I understand.
He is the most
mental health care is important.
He is the most successful YouTuber of all of us. Adar with a Canadian $20, which that's more, right, or less? I don't even know anymore. Who knows? Any Canadians watching should consider getting a membership in the Democratic Socialists of Canada. The DSC is always looking for more members. I gotta say, seeing the acronym DSC took me a second. I'm so used to seeing DSA. I was like, what?
I'm a part of the Democratic Socialists of Vancouver, as well as COPE, the local organization that's lefty.
Wait, what's it called? COPE?
It's I know immediately what you're thinking, but their slogan is "Make Billionaires Cope." But yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good. I like that a lot. COPE is good. I like that. AK with a $50 super chat. There we go. So I'm talking about that American money, baby. I know exactly how much you gave me. Matt, I just wanted to say your laugh.
I respect your currency.
Matt, I just wanted to say your laugh is what happy is made of. It always makes me smile. Thanks for another great episode of Leftist Mafia. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad that my laugh brings you enjoyment. No, but really, thank you. $50 is $50. My God. Hold on. Did you get rid of the $50 super chat that was for me, Mike? I don't see it. Oh, did he
I think
send
that
the
there was
same
one
thing
for
to
both of us.
everybody?
I think, yeah, that's what I think happened.
Okay, but it's not there anymore because I guess you put it up on the screen. I'll just read it again just in case.
Oh, okay.
Love $100 Canadian super chat from Tigwick. I, again, don't know exactly how much that is because it's Canadian, but it's $100. That's crazy. It's $100. Love the shirt, Matt. Not $100 Canadian worth, but it's a great shirt. Please spread the $100 evenly between every guest you've ever had on the show, or don't. I don't care. I am wearing a shirt for the horror classic Creep Show. It's a great movie.
Yeah, great shirt.
It's an anthology. Love those anthology horror movies.
Really fun and campy. If anyone hasn't seen them.
Yes. Let's see. My YouTube just. Man, the YouTube, like the super chat section for YouTube is so resource heavy for Chrome. It's ridiculous. It crashes on me every single week. Hold on, where was I? Looney Tunes 9000 with a super chat. The moral of the story is never question the leftist mafia with a stupid question. Don't ever be a dumbass and waste dono money by judging the show. What? What are you talking about?
True.
Oh, the person who was criticizing us having a guest on. Chris,
I don't think that they meant anything. I wasn't like, I don't think they meant anything harmful by it.
No, it wasn't. It was
just
malicious. It was that I
love
love your banter and I want the regular kind of show kind of thing.
Yeah,
right? It was still done from a place of like loving the show. It was
right.
Yeah,
but Mike had to be a dick about it.
I was just kidding. I think they know I'm kidding. They know my sense of humor. You know, I mean nothing wrong or hard by it or wrong by it, whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm tired.
yeah.
It's all love. It's all love.
You remind me. Speaking of how Mike is, someone in the super chat when I made the reference to the Walking Dead episode where Carol tells Lizzie to look at the flowers so she could execute her because she's turning into a zombie. Someone was like, Mike to all the elderly, come look at the flowers, guys. And you know what? I had to say, I thought that was funny. But at the same time, what is Mike and the elderly were talking about? He wouldn't even tell them to look at the flowers. He'd hold that gun point blank to their forehead.
And get them to stub their toe.
I love old people. I wish that people knew that in real life, I genuinely love old people. Okay? It's just a meme.
He'd be like, Mike would be like, Grandpa, I want you to I want to make sure this is the last thing you see. Boom. My face is the last thing you see.
My grandpa's already dead, so I can't do that.
I didn't mean literally.
And fuck him.
Grandpa. I meant grandpa, an old person. All right.
I gotta get on a fuck young people arc. Like kids these days.
Did I read this one from Chris? Congratulations, you get the last bit of money I spend for the next 25 hours. Oh, getting in the nick of time before the don't spend any money day. Chris, aka Cult of Personality Birch, with another super chat. CM Punk, last money I spend for about 36 hours. Oh, we're getting a bunch of people giving me money is the last thing they give money for. Appreciate that. Major Laser with a super chat. Right before I left work today, 2 of the newest employees were called into the manager's office. We work for the Department of Defense and Environmental Management. Not good.
It's fucked up.
Not my Michael with a $20 super chat. Recommendations for info literacy. Newslet Project IFIC, the International Food Information Council for Nutrition Science, Science-Based Medicine, aka SBM, for medical breakdowns from health specialists. Great show. Thank you, Not My Michael, and great suggestions. Greg Wright with a super chat. Let's fund a leftist tenant media type company and go undercover into right-wing media and slowly pull them leftward.
Love that idea. If only we had the capital.
Right. The first project will be a show called the Right-Wing Mafia. And it's just all 6 of us pretending to be right-wingers.
That would be hilarious, honestly. I feel like we know the
that would
talking
actually be a
points
lot of
so
fun.
well. Yeah.
Why we left the left. That'd be the first episode. Why we left the left.
We can dress up. I can get on like a red hat. I'll wear my flannel and get my my guns. I'll put it in the background.
Yeah. First guest for that episode, Anna Kasparian. Guamu with a super chat. With 100 Mexican pesos, my brother-in-law worked here in Mexico on bird reservation for an environmental contractor for the U.S. government. Since last week, he and his peers are unemployed now. Wow,
That's
I'm
so
sorry to hear
fucked
that.
up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fred J. Walsh with a super chat. Loved listening to Gabrielle. Thanks, guys. No, thank you, Fred J. Walsh, for the 10 smackaroos. Spastigus with a $10 super chat. I am a Viking descendant, Norwegian from Tunsberg, without the ability to grow a decent beard. You have permission to appropriate my beard ticket. Oh, look at that.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You get the.
I will cite you if I ever. Yeah, I'll cite you if I ever do it, and somebody asks.
You got the V pass. Let's go to. I think this is for me. Yes, Bruce, with your first ever super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Did you hear Microsoft employees protested CEO Satya Nadella this week with shirts that spelled out, "Does our code kill kids?" Oh, I did not see.
I did not.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Is that
Same,
in
I haven't
reference
heard of
to is that related to Israel or to their work with the Department of Defense or maybe both? Is this for me? No, this is more for one of you guys. Let me just really quickly read my last two here. Tigwick with a super chat. Funding idea. Keep tonight's episode running to pick up all the last minute spenders before tomorrow. All right, let's go another 45 minutes. Foresto with a super chat. The crypto mafia. Crypto bad. Give it to me instead. That could be, yeah. All right, there's a few in there for maybe you, Mike. I'm not sure. Hold on, let me.
I got a couple. I got a couple quick ones. I was just going to read. Soul Life, thank you for the $5. Liking and subscribing helps the whole channel. It's free. Like if you're a fan, very important words. Subscribe and like to everyone's channel that's streaming right now. And also D Chad with the $15. Thank you so much. I'm an Ontarian. I promise we aren't all voting for Doug the dickhead. It's so frustrating. He said he'd open bigger jails, but 80% of incarcerated people are awaiting trial. It's so fucking messed up. Yeah, I assume no one who's listening to any of us is a Doug Ford supporter. I'm just saying it sucks that guy stays in power for so long, as it does for any politician who stays in power for a long time.
As an American, I understand what it's like to live somewhere and hope that other people don't assume the worst about you because of the climate. So I feel like as an American, you get a pass for sure. Could be worse. Could be worse. But yeah, that is disappointing, especially like just as an American and how wonderful your healthcare system is. Not perfect, but how much better it is to see that he's privatizing it and taking it in our direction. And then to see Canadians vote for it is really alarming to me. So I hope that people wake up before it's too late, because once you get that healthcare taken away, it's going to be very, very hard to get it back.
Doesn't come back,
Yeah. So I wish everybody luck there. Okay, so I got a couple. So Albert, who has 10, sent in 10. Thank you so much. Democratic leadership is so infuriatingly weak against the lightning speed of fascism. Would it work better for progressives to fight to take control of Democratic Party or to form a third party? So we have a two-party system thanks to first past the post. So if we had like a new party form, it would not become viable. But at this point, I feel like it would be worthwhile to have Bernie like launch a party to just try to like pressure the Democrats, to threaten them, to like take some votes away from them, not to like help fascists win, maybe endorse them in the election if push comes to shove, if something bad happened where Trump was like running for a third term or something, or there's a different fascist. Either way, just like, I don't know, there needs to be something, because taking control of the Democratic Party, while possible, it's going to be very difficult because they're going to fight us. So I would, if someone like Bernie Sanders tried to start a third party, or a really big figure like Sean Fain, I'm not saying it would be viable, but it would be a really good, I guess, a way to I don't know, put some pressure on the Democratic Party. It depends on what they do, right? If it's like DSA or Working Families Party, I think it could be really successful. If it's more like a typical third party where it's kind of like zero sum in swing states and they take votes away, I mean, that can be useful if it's big enough, but then we risk splitting votes and helping fascists in elections. So it's tricky. It is. I feel your pain though, Albert, because like the Democratic Party is so bad. Hakeem Jeffries was, I tweeted about this, was comparing the far left to the far right as the Democratic Party leader. He's talking about people in his own base. And if you're equating, the far left with fascists and you're the Democratic Party leader, you should be nowhere near leadership. That's just disqualifying. Nintendo Gaming Channel, thank you for the 279. Trump and Adolf Hitler are alike. Yes, they are. Michael Huziak, thank you for the 5. I would pay to see Matt Bender debate Nick Fuentes while Kyle Kalinske debates Ben Shapiro, all while Mike hits Tim Pool with a chair. Love ya.
I mean, I'd pay to see
I'm
that
always
too.
the one who's doing violence.
I don't even know what I would say to Nick Fuentes at this point. Like, what would you say to Nick Fuentes at this point? Like,
yeah, hey, you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
He'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
true. Yeah, that's not an insult to him. He's like, yeah, I know.
Somebody, like that, I don't actually think it's worthwhile to debate them at all. I think it's debating right-wingers is something that can be useful, but when they're Nazis, I think that there should not be a debate them strategy. I think there should be a different strategy. Beaming some thoughts into your head about my strategy for Nazis that I can't say on YouTube. MW, thank you for the 10. I'm so embarrassed for our country right now. Usually fascist regimes arise out of actual crises. What did ours arise from? A pleading suggestion to wear masks. Yeah, to be fair, though, it's not just COVID. Capitalism always devolves into fascism. And this is kind of like us just on that same trajectory. It's not the first time that capitalism in the United States has even devolved into fascism. It's happening around the world. I actually have a video tomorrow that I touch on this. It's not directly about it. It's about Bill Burr, because he attacked Elon Musk. Elon Musk hit back and tried to flag his Twitter account. And what he said about Elon Musk was really interesting. That's what triggered Elon Musk. He was like, "Oh yeah, he's like, he can't find love. He's lonely." And I touch on the loneliness thing and how like capitalism contributes to it. So watch that video. I'm trying to like remember what I said, but it's been a while since I recorded that. Okay, where am I at? I've got a couple more. Sam Roker, thank you for the $10. Can I get you guys to try Epic the musical if I inform you it is like a video game musical? I'll be honest, probably not, even if it's a video game musical. I just don't like musicals in general. I've never heard of that though, but I'll look it up and see what it is. Odds are, if it's a musical, I'm probably not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't
like any musicals whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't like any musicals. The only ones I like are like Lion King and Aladdin when I was a kid.
What about the comedy ones like the Book of Mormon?
Oh, I like that one. If it's a real life musical, I actually like. I'm fine with that. It's just like watching a musical on TV where they're singing.
Oh, where they sing dialogue. That's usually hard if you're not really into musicals.
You'll
pass the salt. I can pass the salt. Pepper too, please. Like, yeah.
Where they start like they're arguing, they break out into song. Yeah, like I saw Book of Mormon. I loved every second of it because that just feels like that's like a real like you're seeing it. It's a show. I wouldn't want to watch the Book of Mormon on television, but in real life I would for sure. But yeah, that it's off-putting to me. And the music is usually like very, I don't know, it's very like it's the same shit. It's very folksy. That's just not my style. Yeah, I just don't have a preference for it, unfortunately. I have a strong dislike of it. But I'm really happy for anybody who likes it because that kind of upbeat thing can be useful in times like these. So yeah, more power to you if you like it. Kowalski, thank you for the $2. Violence is just communication by other means. That's true. Yeah. Okay, so the remainder are for you, I believe, Matt.
Let me check. I just got one more. It looks like, so I don't know how many more there are. Kowalski with the super chat. Trump has fired more veterans than all presidents. Yeah, that sounds about right. Another one just came in for, I think, you, Mike.
Oh, okay. Oh, real quick. Tara says that Sam told me about this before. It's about the Odyssey. I literally do not remember this. I'm sure Sam did tell me about this. Sam, for those who don't know, is like a movie expert, and all of my movie recommendations basically come from Sam during our Patreon chats. I don't remember him telling me about this though. I'll look it up. Maybe it'll ring a bell when I look it up. I probably won't like it.
My first thought when I heard you read that was like, oh, I didn't know Sam Cedar was into musical video games.
Surprise.
B Wood, thank you for the 5. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men to do nothing. Yeah, that's a great quote. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Sam, thank you for the 5. Did you all hear about the economic blackout tomorrow, and will you take part of it? Yeah, I heard about it before, but then I wasn't sure what the date was. I am absolutely going to participate in that. I will not spend any money tomorrow. Wasn't planning to, so easy decision by me. And also, I think this is from either me or you. I'm not sure, but thank you so much to Charlotte Ray. I don't know if it came up in mine, but just want to acknowledge Charlotte. Thank you so much. That is that's all our super chats. Oh, and then one just came in actually.
Coolio. My mods wanted me to raid Maple Takes, so I was going to do that. If you guys want to join me,
okay.
Sounds
good.
Let's do it. Maple Takes, spelled just like it's spelled. Maple, like the word maple, then takes.
Oh wait,
takes.
Really quick over on Twitch. I just got a few.
You got one more super chat too, Matt.
Oh, okay. Bonzilla the Inevitable over on Twitch cheered 69 bits. Thank you. Ponderosapine resubscribed for 9 months at tier 1. They've been subscribed for 38 months. Ponderosapine says they targeted gamers. We're a group of people who will sit for hours, days, even weeks on end, performing some of the hardest, most mentally demanding tasks over and over and over, all for nothing more than a little digital token saying we did. We'll punish ourselves for doing things others would consider torture because we think it's fun. We'll spend most, if not all, of our free time min-maxing the stats of fictional characters, all to draw out a single extra point of damage per second. Where is that copy pasta from? That's what it sounds like. Bonzilla the Inevitable resubscribed with Prime, subscriber for 7 months. Thank you so much, Bonzilla. And then you said there's one more over on Twitch. I mean on YouTube.
Yeah, there's you got 2 more super chats.
You gotta hurry, Matt. My raid has already started. Like
Bruce, Israel AP published an article on Tuesday. Okay. And Notoriously Bratty says
we gave thoughts
thoughts on Doug Ford's win. We already shared, unfortunately. Go back and watch it.
Very sad. And also thank you to Nintendo Gaming Channel. He went to report I sent you an email on Johnny Somali. Okay, I'll try to remember to check that
Nintendo
out.
Gaming Channel? Jelly.
And who'd you say you rated?
Maple Takes.
Maple
Takes. Spelled the word maple and takes. And it's rating right now. So I'll see y'all next Thursday. Love you guys. Take it easy.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
All right, hold on. I didn't raid yet. It's still going. You too?
It's ready. Let me know when you are.
Hold on. Okay, I can raid now. You ready?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, peace, everyone.
Everybody take care.